And so when he put his shirt back on, Brian Foster didn't even pay me. Like, I don't even know what was going on with that.
Oh,
Rude.
wow.
The skull is a birthmark, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what he says anyway.
That makes sense now why he wears the shirt.
Just
Oh, hey. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to TBD RPG. I always feel uncomfortable calling it Eric's TBD RPG. I don't know why.
But it is.
I know it is.
Eric is you.
It's me. So yeah, hi, welcome back, everybody. It is Friday, and we are here again to play some more Doctor Who. And we've got some announcements before we fire away and get into the game. First of all, I want to start off by wishing a very, very happy birthday to one of my all-time favorite Doctor Who actors ever, Peter Capaldi. Is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Mr. Capaldi. I am going to miss you so much when he retires his Doctor. And I'm excited to see who the next one is, but I'm going to miss Capaldi because I love Capaldi. He's great. Good. And I'm really excited for Bill. Bill's going to be awesome. I'm calling Bill the new Donna. She's like, Bill really comes off to me kind of, she's got kind of that Donna like feel to it, like that chummy sort of like, isn't intimidated or like, Donna was never like, Donna was equal to the Doctor at all times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bill kind
Sometimes
of,
she was better.
Yeah.
well, there's no replacing Donna.
Yeah.
It's like the next Donna is kind of how I feel about it. I'm taking heat from Sam after this game. Sam's going to corner me and be like, let's talk about that Donna statement you made. All right, so a few more announcements before we jump in. So I got another package, guys. Yeah, and this one was written in Gallifreyan, as you can see. Yes, this one's got Gallifreyan written all over it. Oh, cool! It's doing because there's a blue sticky note on it, so it's doing the whole green screen thing. So this one's written in Gallifreyan all over it, and I believe this is from A26LA.
What? Oh.
And so I have a gift for everybody at the table. They sent us time travel passports. Yeah, so everyone gets a time traveler's passport.
I needed one. Mine expired.
This one's called, these are called passports.
Oh, clever.
This is always tricky for me. Intertemporal Travel Commission. And so you can like put your stuff on the inside. And they sent us the passports, and they also sent us this really awesome, they sent us 2 letters, and it looks like one of them is written in, if I'm correct, it looks like one of them might be written in Dalek. No.
Whoa.
I don't know. One of them's definitely Gallifreyan.
The other's cursive.
The other one's... Oh, yes, I see it now.
There you go.
No, I have no idea. I have no idea what the other one is. I think it could be Dalek. You have to do... They're watching right now, and they're going, God, he's running the game? So here's what it says. I have yet to read this, so if it's a death threat, it's going to be very awkward. All right, so intertemporal travelers. It has come to our attention that several entities have been intertemporally traveling through the space-time continuum without the proper permits, license, visas, and documentations. This is true. This is in direct violation of infinity symbol ITSTCC, another weird symbol, 42 times another weird symbol, which requires all entities, including multi-entities, dual entities, mind-based entities, and non-corporeal entities, to be in possession of one of the documentations at all times when outside their native chosen home time. However, several reports indicate that these several aforementioned entities have been witnessed interacting with the entity known as the Doctor, who is in accordance with all intertemporal space-time continuum charter, who is in accordance with the intertemporal space-time continuum charter. This is quite the word salad. Heretofore referred to as ITSTCC. Laws, bylaws, acts, decrees, amendments, revisions, and whims. I would love to see the devil from Critical Role try to make this one out. This would be a contract that, like... in light of... Yeah, you should be reading this, Tal. You can make sense of that.
I might go back and call.
In light of your interactions with the entity known as the Doctor, the Intertemporal Travel Commission, herefore referred to as the ITTC, will not pursue legal action, which is great news. In the current timeline, Omicron weird multiple symbols looks like a scissor. That one looks like sort of a pyramid with a circle on top. 616. However, if the ITTC receives complaints or reports from any ITCC regulated authorities or entities of future intertemporal travel without proper permits, licenses, visas, documentation, legal action will occur, resulting but not limited to the following: minimum fines of a very exorbitant number. Imprisonment in the quantum entanglement correction outpost. How do you get corrected in a quantum entanglement correction? Anyway.
Do you get untangled?
For a mandatory minimum of 2 months to a maximum of 1 year, actual time of imprisonment may vary based on non-relative understanding of time around. Restrictions of intertemporal traveling, including limiting the entity to one home time. In order to prevent future infractions, this is a very long, drawn-about way of saying, here, take your damn passports. Have been sent from passports to present as proper identification to all ITTC authorized authorities. Passports will be recognized as an intergalactic issued form of identification. Please retain these documents at all times when traveling intertemporally along any of the proper permits, bases, license. Cordially yours, the intertemporal. Okay, so Carl. Cordially, blah, 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 weird symbols, Carl, the Intertemporal Travel Commissioner. Okay, well, thank you, Carl.
His name is just Carl.
Carl, yes.
Carl.
I hope these are from A26LA. That's what Rob told me at the
everybody
thing, but
read
if
the
not,
important
well,
information.
Thank you, Carl, and we love A26LA,
Absolutely.
as you all know. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing...
Has everybody here been to the time travel mart yet?
I haven't, but...
I love it.
I
I went there
haven't-
for my birthday.
I haven't been there yet,
Two
but
years ago?
you were the first person to tell me about it, and then I ran into them at WonderCon when they came to the party.
Yes.
And they were like, oh, right, and then talking about how we need to come down there sometime.
Go to the mart. It's so good.
Maybe we should stage a field trip. Like go
Field trip.
all of us should just go down there one day.
Yeah.
Just spend like an hour just checking the place out.
Buy some powdered robot milk.
Powdered robot
There's
milk.
also just really good
There's all
books
these
there.
warnings. There's all these warnings in here. So under loss, theft, or destruction of passport, if you have lost your passport, think back to the last time you had your passport, travel back to that time, and try to be more careful this time.
which kind of translates to, if you've lost your passport, don't do that.
Aww.
It's so
Okay.
good.
When traveling
awesome.
to disturbed, remote, or tumultuous time periods, use the buddy system.
That's adorable.
You guys have that in place.
We do.
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
It is unlawful to import agricultural items into periods before 8000 BCE. Good to know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair.
Oh my god.
That's very planet specific, though.
Okay, so that took up a chunk. So real quick, we're going to blast through the last bit of announcements. There's a trailer. We dropped a trailer. It's not Star Wars, I know. I'm sorry. It's not as awesome as Star Wars. I think it's pretty rad. Felicia Day just dropped a trailer today that we shot with her announcing the Mystery Science Theater 3000 launches today, which blows my mind.
Yes.
It was available to me early because I was one of the backers that got the thing, but I didn't want to watch it until it released today because I wanted to sort of like
Be
all of
with
us talk about
everyone.
it. Yeah, because the three things that shaped me as a writer have been Monty Python, Kids in the Hall, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Those are like the big three for me. So and Joel was here yesterday, and I lost my shit.
No way,
I
man.
hate that I couldn't
But this is me losing my shit. So I just kind of stood there. So if you ever see quiet Eric, that's when you know I'm in panic mode. All right, so let's see. Is there anything else before we jump into?
Oh, I have a quick
Yeah,
announcement.
Jody, fire away.
I'm not going to be here next week because I'm going to be at C2E2 in Chicago. So if you're attending the convention, I'll be in Artist Alley at table B1. Yeah, B1. So
Go say hi to the
come
Corsair.
say hi, and I'll also be collecting donations for the Hero Initiative, which is
Yay!
a very cool organization that would take me too long to explain why it is needed right now. So go look it up.
What we'll do next Friday is we'll get some information for the Hero Initiative, and we'll link it up
Awesome.
and send it out, and you guys can go say hi to Jody if you're at the.
The gist is they provide a lot of help to older comic book creators.
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, that's right. We did a signal boost on that.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of creators are taking donations at their table for people who come by to sign stuff.
The creator of Rocket Raccoon is involved. Is he a part of that? I
He's
feel
a
like-
recipient of
Recipient,
that.
that's right.
'cause
Yeah.
he's been, he was in a, I believe he was hit by a car years
Sounds
ago,
right.
and he's just been, needing a lot of medical expenses, since then, and they've helped, pay for his medical costs because. Most comic creators are freelancers who may or may not have health insurance, and as you get older, that can lead to a lot of like bankruptcies and issues. So the Hero Initiative steps in and helps out people where they might not be able to afford things like medical and other life expenses. So.
Which is really brilliant because these are the people. Comic book creators are some of the people that help create our dreams as children, and I think the very least we can do is say thank you. So we will definitely get that information up so next week. So make sure to stop by and say hi to the Corsair while she's at the convention. and we'll send that information up. Was there anything else? Amy, you got some?
Oh, one more quick announcement that I'm excited about is that the sci-fi RPG show that Gina and I do with Jody. Sorry, other ship, but same
I feel
ship.
like it's called.
We love you guys anyway.
We are the brightest star. Our songs are better.
I know, you keep telling me.
Ooh.
We have our season 2 coming up this week, and we're very, very excited because we're actually going to be, I say it like I'm helping. We're going to be rebroadcasting season 1 on Twitch.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Twitch subs,
Vast is coming to Twitch. I'm really
Yes.
excited about that. That's awesome.
season 2 will be going live every Monday night on Alpha, and at the same time they'll be rerunning season 1 on Twitch, and so we're all gonna try to be in all the chats all the time.
All the shows.
Because we're so excited.
Me too.
Yeah,
Vast has
so,
been doing very well. It's a very good show. It's
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
cool.
And Monday premieres with your ship, correct? The Talk Hop.
Yeah, it does.
Or whatever they're called now.
All right.
Spoilers, season 1.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm just finishing up my Vastathon now, and I think I might just Vastathon again.
Well, and as you say, like, go to the fucking planet. You have to say, I don't.
Go watch Vast! It's really cool!
Okay, so thank you. Just wanted to say that. I'm very
I know.
excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of these days we'll get. Well, I promise you guys we'll get our announcements down to 5 minutes. One of these days. All right. So I believe that's it. I think we can jump into our game and get the quick recap, and then start off where we left off. Okay. Roll the intro video. That joke never gets old. No, we don't have one. You were just waiting for it. All right. So
I just panicked.
I just freaked out Denise. Denise was like,
You
"What?"
set off the subroutines.
Excellent. Oh man.
Please
Free
don't break-
Denise, not
don't-
freak
don't-
Denise.
Don't break it.
Right now, Brian is laughing his
We
ass off.
can't afford it.
Yeah.
We can't afford to face the wrath of Denise.
That either.
So, okay, so let's jump into the recap. So we've had quite the adventure. We just left the space well Leviathan. We finally managed to leave Leviathan behind in the great community that lives within Leviathan. You guys managed to escape after being able to repair. Oh, this is an important recap for you, Duncan, because you were both at a convention and sick as hell. So completely decommissioned. So this will be a good recap for you. So yes, we left Leviathan. They managed to get out. They managed to repair the labyrinth circuit that allowed them to finally get away. They reconnected with everybody. They reconnected with Meatstick and Velig, and they got. I don't want to say they rescued Finn. I would say they found Finn and enabled Finn to successfully complete rescuing herself in a very violent manner. And then basically through a lot of things that the audience knows about that I can't recap because the players don't know about, which is driving Sam out of their mind.
Send us
Yeah, there was one-on-one RP, and we were not allowed to know what happened or
Cast
watch
members
it
are
on
not allowed to
VOD.
watch the VOD, so and they pulled this last night on Critical Role, by the way, with Tal, which was brilliant. You should have seen the swagger he had during the break.
I've been breaking every game I touch.
You have. You've been
But it's
smashing
so
every
fun.
game.
It's so fun.
So you're telling me I missed more Meat Stick and Velig?
Yep.
Yeah.
You did.
yeah.
You missed
You
more meat
missed
stick
more meat
belly.
and potatoes.
But
Yeah, there you go.
more meat stick. They're in the party today, but as I said last week, I'm going to pull in Ashley Johnson, so they're going to be kind of in the background-ish, but they will be NPC'd until
just
they
be
can
smashing things.
until they can return. I believe we have hopefully. And don't like I have to check with them, but I think we're going to have one more session with Darren and Matt. We don't know when yet, but we're gonna the Velig and Meatstick shall return for one last ride. It'll be good. So anyway, they managed to get it. They managed to get the TARDIS. They managed to get the hell out of Leviathan, the space whale, and they ended up landing on after a pool party. They had a pool party. You were there. You had a great time.
In the whale.
No,
in the
TARDIS. In the TARDIS.
Thank God for that.
Sorry, that's a specific. I should have.
Because what kind of pool was it?
Yeah, where was the water coming from?
No.
It's a fun discovery. Yeah. There we go.
So they managed to get back. They had a pool party in the TARDIS, which was both awesome and kind of some, which I will explain later. Yes.
Explain later.
Yes. And where we last left off, the TARDIS had arrived on an uncharted. Supposedly, it was an uncharted. Like all of the rips in space time are on worlds that have yet to be visited. They're uncharted, what we discovered after we landed, after discovering a Sontaran corpse laying out in the middle of the jungle, once they walked out the door, what they discovered is this is the Sontaran homeworld. Sometime billions of the years in the future, where the Sontaran Empire is no more. It is completely fallen. Velig doesn't seem to be aware of this yet. In fact, the Doctor has only just plugged in her sonic to the interior of the TARDIS to compute exactly where in space and time that they have landed. And the Doctor has only just discovered that this is actually Sontar. And that the corpse outside is probably 400 to 500 years old. And that is where we have left off. The rip in space-time is somewhere on this planet. You're in about 2 miles away from it. It's pointing, I guess, it's kind of weird because we're not on Earth, but it's pointing east, sort of an eastish location. And I kind of described the jungle that you were all in. First of all, the gravity on this planet is a little punishing. It's a little bit more than what y'all are used to. So it's kind of interesting walking out into the jungle and feeling like, kind of like no matter how much you stretch or kind of pop your neck, it's oppressive. And it takes a moment to sort of, like, because once you leave that sort of the life support area, that dome, that invisible dome area of the TARDIS, where the life support of the TARDIS kind of like wears off, that's when you start really feeling like, oh, this is Jurassic Park with 20 pounds on my shoulder. Which describes the jungle you're in. Basically, this looks like the Cretaceous period. It looks like y'all are standing in this ancient jungle with huge vine leaves. It looks totally primal, and there's lots of bestial noises off in the distance, lots of predatorial sounds, birds, all that bit. Although most of them have been driven away because upon sight of the corpse of the dead Sontaran, Velig noted that the Sontaran was covered with vines and decided to avenge this Sontaran by destroying every plant life they could find within the vicinity of this corpse, and proceeded to open fire, destroying a good, like, I want to say a 300-foot swath in front of him of jungle, which led to the destruction of an ancient tree that collapsed and all 200 feet crashed into another tree, causing it to crash into another tree. So most of the wildlife has either been driven away or made alert of your location. And that is where we begin today's game. As the sounds of the jungle are slowly starting to return. But the smoke and also the air just kind of mixed with the dense heat and the humidity, you're getting the smells of like ancient, like massive primal flowers. You're getting, I'm not falling for it. I'm not going there today, Jody. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say massive as much as I freaking want to say it.
You're the GM.
I know, damn it. I'm giving myself a story point right now. Oh, real quick. Yes, thank you, Tal. I just remembered. So reward you guys. I'm going to go ahead and boost everybody up 3 story points.
Woo! Over our caps?
If you're at your cap, you don't need it. This is mostly for the people who were burning them last game. And
my cap's still 6.
Your cap is still 6. Yes, you are a Time Lord. Your stats
It's
are off
okay,
the
you
charts.
don't need You get the temporary HP kind, if you do well.
Yeah, I'm kind of putting a cap on it.
Fair enough.
No, much less.
Yeah, what the interesting thing about running this game is I've run into, like, I'm starting to find out where I can draw the lines because you guys are brilliant players, and I'm discovering that what I've discovered playing Doctor Who so far is a lot of times you don't even need, like, especially the Doctor and like Taliesin. Sometimes you really just don't need story points because your stats are ridiculously awesome, and for the most part you're rolling in the 20s without needing to expend them. The only time I've seen you guys spend story points is when you're trying to one-up each other and find out what the other person's thinking, which is great because this is Doctor Who and there's like a Battlestar Galactica level paranoia that's starting to brew in the party. I love it. Anyway.
It's not paranoia, they're ready on silence.
So what I'll say is this, just for now, I'm gonna try this out. 6 is what you'll start with every game, but I'll allow you to go above 6 during game for good role play and like making sacrifices and not pulling the trigger when you know all that Doctor Who-y stuff. I'll let you go. But what's that?
Should that be true for all Time Lords? Because you gave me 8 story points. So
yeah,
it should be lower
let's let it be true for all the Time Lords because I need to balance out the guys a little bit. So, Tal's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's alright. Not a power game, huh?
Don't forget, your Sonic and your Sonic have 2 story points in there, so
Are those
technically,
refreshed?
yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why I had 8 because I don't have any Sonic stuff.
Okay, that's fair. I'll let you have 2 more.
Yeah.
Let you have 2 more for now.
One down.
Duncan, what are you at?
I was at 9, so now I'm at 12.
Awesome. You're at your max. That's cool. All right, cool. And you're human technically too, so you should be. What are your story points at?
I'm only at 8.
Oh, okay. You're fine though.
I'm good.
You're fine. You're Cable. I mean, you're
I'm
you're
good.
fine.
Guns.
I'm not worried.
You ain't worried.
You need story
You got
points,
Roko
you've
and a
got
cyber arm. What are you
guns.
worried about?
And she,
Um,
and she has a gun now. I gave her a gun.
That's
I
right.
did.
You did. You gave
What
up a
kind
weapon
of gun
voluntarily.
is it, by the way?
I don't know. It was
Laser.
not a
Laser
great
pistol.
gun, which is probably why I gave it to you.
Well, it's not
Thanks.
like you're going to
It's a laser gun. It'll kill.
draw any more attention to
The-
yourself.
the-
Might as well
I'll give you.
find
I'll
out.
give you the damage rating on the gun.
Yeah.
It's 4 LL.
Oh crap! I gave her the better gun.
No. When you get to laser technology at that, it's 4 LL.
I know. Oh, then
Oh.
mine.
Yeah.
Then mine is wrong.
Then I'll just.
I thought
What?
this was
Oh,
the
maybe I
other
told you something
medicine
different. But
box.
yeah, it's supposed to be
Okay.
4 LL.
Yeah, you told me 3 LL.
Oh, okay.
So,
No, it's 4.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It means it does 3 points of damage if you just barely hit, and then if you after that, it's
Lethal.
dead. Incredibly unforgiving, but it's death. That's why you want to have a story point ready.
Guns.
Yay,
Those are
guns.
great.
Okay, so and here we are.
Lost.
We're in the jungle. Doctor, you've pulled the Sonic
Right,
out after
right.
it finishes the calculations. The computer reads off that you are on the Centauran homeworld in the distant future of the Centauran Empire, way past its apex. It does look like the TARDIS. It does look like the TARDIS is registering that this is yet another world. To no surprise at all, this is another world that has followed its own path in this timeline that your TARDIS is not familiar with. Which is evidenced by the fact that, so far as you know, the Centauran should still be around at this period in history. They ain't.
I don't think there was a twilight of the Centauran Empire. Right. I'm torn between how much I love discovering that, like, a totally new version of the universe, and also I have to tell Bellic.
Who you can hear outside going, "The trees will bother us no more."
Touch those trees, Belly!
I did not touch the trees. The ammunition being fired from Blue Death has touched the trees, and it has given them a sweet caress of death.
Right. Does he entirely need to know? Quick word, if you all could just come this way a bit.
Yes, away from the trees, come on.
Are you calling everyone back into the TARDIS?
Yeah, just to show them.
Oh, okay. All right. Doctor calls everybody back in the TARDIS.
Right, so I've discovered where we are, and as we make our way to this rip, Veleg, are you currently holding a weapon of any kind?
They took it away.
I took it away.
Right.
Yeah, Gina's. You see Finn has got it over her shoulder.
This is going to be a bit difficult to accept, but for the greater glory of the mission we're on right now, we must stay focused on our goal. So we're all agreed that we're headed for this time rip to seal it and then leave this planet in peace, right? Everyone's
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Does it have to be left in peace?
in? Ideally, yes.
Very well.
Fantastic. So to preserve the great history of your empire, you have chosen to join us on our mission.
Yes.
And you should know that we are here.
Indeed. And that we can agree.
Pressing the Sonic down and the display should pop back up, and I am saying, this is Santa.
That is a computer screen.
This is a map of where we are right now, which is on the planet Santa, far in the future, and it looks as if the great and glorious Santa Empire is in the past.
Ah, I see. He angles himself over and looks up at the screen and goes, I see.
We are currently on a planet which is the ruins of the great and glorious Sontaran Empire.
So he's angled himself up because, of course, he has no neck. So he's looking at this screen. And you see, it doesn't look like it's confusion. It looks like denial as he's looking at it. And he angles back down. And for the first time since you have met third librarian Veleg, he seems like he doesn't have anything to say as he's staring at the screen for a long moment.
I'm sorry.
But that's impossible. It's impossible. There's no way a tree could defeat the great glory of the Centauran Empire.
It's not strictly clear what happened that led it to be this way, but it does seem as if this is the case.
He kind of looks to the floor for a moment, and then he, without saying a word, you see him pivot and he shuffles back outside the TARDIS, his heavy footsteps thudding upon the grate, and he pushes the door open and stomps out into the jungle.
Veleg,
And
where are you going?
Give me a moment.
We should probably
Meatstick
go
falls in
after
step
it.
with you
as
you
Destroy-
walk out.
We're gonna-
Destroys
Come on, Lillian.
everything.
Let's go.
Okay. Meatstick falls in step with you. The two of you walk out.
Perhaps they've relocated. More strategic advantage.
He steps down into the crater as you're talking to him, and then comes back up the other side of the crater and stands over the corpse of the Centauran laying at his
And
feet.
so long as there's one Centauran standing, it lives on. The Empire lives on. And technically speaking, since there's no one here, they've surrendered to your might already. So, we're thinking about it.
Do you want to try to roll convince?
Sure.
Okay. So then make a presence plus convince roll.
What is it?
I believe it's presence
Yeah.
plus convince.
Present plus convince.
Where did all my stuff go? I'm an unprepared GM. I'm gonna make a song.
Don't tell
19.
me that.
Right. Okay. Let me roll. I actually have. Let me look into the bag of holding. Oh, I just pitched ThinkGeek. That means you got to sponsor us now. Sorry, guys. I'll give you the address. You can send the check. Keep you updated. All right. Let's see here. Ah, wow. First thing up. Okay, so you rolled. What was it, 19?
19.
All right. Okay. 19. Veleg, he says, I suppose.
It's up to you now. It's a lot of responsibility. You must carry this burden. Well, I don't know about you. It would be enough to make me crack eventually. I'm going to start walking back to the TARDIS now that I think he's fine.
Okay, yeah, he starts muttering to himself as you come walking back. As you're walking back, you notice that everyone has filtered out of the TARDIS again, and we're kind of watching you all from a distance.
I think it'll be all right.
Veleg is by himself now, standing over the
Just need
corpse.
some time to think things over.
I'm sorry you couldn't be here, Darren. I'm sure this is like a juicy moment he wished he could
I'm
be in.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Centauran morning aria.
Yeah,
I know.
It's a lot of
Eric,
pressure.
you gotta sing.
I gotta sing.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to sing a funeral song again, don't we? for
The
whole
thing
planet?
is I love you guys, and so I won't do that to you.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
It's a lot of pressure.
Veleg, are you all right?
Oh yes. Quite fine. Quite fine.
You ready to help come save the universe and the whole history of the Empire with it?
I don't understand. He turns. This is not what Sontar looks like. The landscape is completely changed. It's hideous and filled with weak life forms. He rips up a piece of like plant and just holds it up and he says, "How is this possible?"
Time does a great many things.
Then we should melt time with acid.
I wonder if that's possible.
Doesn't quite work like that.
I'm afraid we might need it. Time.
If I figure out a way, I'll let you know.
If this is Sontar, and he throws the plant down and says, then it is possible that there are still structures, technology, something left behind. Sontaran technology is the most powerful, most enduring technology in all the universe.
Of course.
If that's true, then it might be possible to clone more. He just starts rubbing his meaty hands together.
Well, we should go looking for that either way, Veleg, because you know, we might be able to find out what happened here. We might be able to find out what happened to the Sontaran Empire. How all of this grew up, how the landscape changed.
Your logic offends me, because it is so logical. And
librarian.
because I agree. Very well, weak human. We shall do as you say. May I please have my gun back, if I promise not to kill any more offending trees.
It's going to be a Sontaran.
Come quite far. Yes. You'll be very careful.
I shall ask for permission first.
Philip, I'm quite proud of you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes. You do
I am
great-
lying.
Oh.
Doctor, he did say please.
I admire your honesty. But it actually is quite important that you not use the weapon unless the time is right.
And we can't melt time with acid.
No, I'm afraid not.
Very well.
Yeah.
It's pretty melty as is, really.
You hand it over. Velig takes it. And if I save what's left of the Sontaran Empire, I shall be second librarian.
You may record all of these glorious adventures.
And then it seems to occur to him, I wonder if the library is still here.
It's actually quite a good question.
I did manage it at one time.
Could be helpful.
I wonder, since we know that that tear is a couple miles away, perhaps Velig knows what used to be there.
It's a very good question. You remember the map I showed you?
Yes, of
Did
course.
Fantastic. It was a representation of the space of this planet. You're aware. You're a librarian.
Well, the terrain seems to have changed, but it will be no match for the feat of a Sontaran. Yes, I believe I can lead us there.
To the library or to the rip?
I don't remember where we wanted to go.
Right. There's a giant rip in space-time, and all of the worlds that exist in every
The rip,
version
yes.
are threatened by them,
And they're
including
threatened.
every version of the Sontaran Empire.
Everything is going to be destroyed, yes.
Right.
And we don't want that to happen.
We do not, because
We do
then
not.
the Sontaran Empire is gone
Gone.
on every possible
Every
level.
possible level.
Right.
This is coming back to me.
Yes. So,
Being
it's
inside of a giant space fish can play with your mind.
it's a sort of a fish.
Normal.
But yes, a lot of minds a bit scrambled at the moment.
So you wish me to take you to a place that I have forgotten about?
So, we were just wondering if, in looking at that map, it reminded you of where things were on Sontar that you remember.
I should look at the map again. And he stops and says, "Gun. Thank you." It takes, thank you.
Don't.
That is what you
map.
say.
Me?
No. him.
He has Blue Death up onto his shoulder and starts walking back into the TARDIS.
Oh, I thought I already gave you the gun.
Oh, did you?
I thought you were
I don't
giving
know.
it back to me. I was like, why are you giving the gun back?
So he comes stomping back into the TARDIS and walks up to the display and says, "Ah, yes, we are not far from the capital." And he hits the screen with his finger. And sure enough, yeah, he points it out. There's an area that he's pointing at on the screen that is not registering that anything's there on the map that the overlay you've got. But the dense foliage, the intensity of the life forms of the area is kind of, it's the overgrowth. It's difficult to actually get a scan, which is actually kind of unusual. Biological material should not be blocking the scan for like structures and stuff like that. And yet, there it is.
Fascinating.
Is Pocket Watch getting anything?
It's not really. No, it's you're kind of getting the same sort of interference. It looks like the biodiversity of this place. It could be. It's entirely possible because you two have seen this. Oh, the three of you really in your travels have seen that there are some pockets of advanced biological life form that can play havoc with technology and can actually interfere with scanning as part of a defense mechanism. So It's possible, or it's possible there's nothing there. But he's pointing directly at a spot with pure confidence that that is exactly where we need to go.
Is it within our radius of 2 miles?
Yep, sure is.
And have I been able to narrow down the direction of the rip at all?
It seems like that's in the general direction. He's kind of due east was where you got the point, and that's where he's pointing.
Oh, brilliant.
I could take a look
Um,
there.
It is mountainous going up into that area. So after about half a mile, it becomes a climb.
All right.
Not a rock climb, thankfully, but a Runyon Canyon.
It's an excellent idea. We've heard a lot of noises from creatures here, and I would love to know what sort of minds they have, if you happen to encounter any. Carefully, as we've discussed.
All right.
Shall we?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Or did you want to do... Sorry. As we go, or just now?
I think I kind of need to take a bit of a seat if I'm going to.
Right, very sorry. Got ahead of myself. Let's do it.
I'd like to spend a story point for a clairvoyance on the location that is being
Okay.
at.
You go find yourself one of the, I mean, as you know, the doctor has chairs here in the TARDIS control room. You go find yourself a nice, comfortable chair. You sit down for a second, and you all watch the very familiar sight of Roko going into the clairvoyant state. Roko, your senses are assaulted the moment you connect. It's not in a bad way. It's overwhelming. As soon as you go into the clairvoyant state, the primal energies of this world, because for at least for the past 400 years, no technologically advanced life has set foot on this world. So you're touching a world that is in a state, it's at the apex of its sort of, if you can imagine what Earth was like during its prehistoric era, and imagine going back in time and seeing it with clear skies and life everywhere, doing everything that nature was designed to do. It's been so long through space travel, even inside of Leviathan, to be able to connect to the primal world like this. It feels like you immediately feel connected to, it almost feels like you're reaching out and touching your ancestors. The moment you go into the clairvoyant state, you just feel that energy sifting through you, and you feel the biological makeup of your plant and reptilian like DNA sort of being like, you could live here. You immediately feel that charge. It's invigorating. And there's a part of you that suddenly, every little bit of you that sort of like overthinks things, that sentient side that has anxieties and all the burdens that come with being something that's self-aware and identifies me, you, bleeds away for a split second, and you feel like you're one with everything around you. And it takes you a moment to be like, come back, and like refocus. And when you do, you become a spectator again, and it's almost a little heartbreaking to sort of have to step back. But as you do, you begin to realize that in the vicinity, and then like the next because you've got hell of distance on that thing, right? Isn't it like 10
100
miles?
kilometers in 5 minutes worth
Yeah.
of taking a look around.
It's a confirmation of what you have, what the doctor's scans and what Chronotis' scans have kind of revealed, is that this place is just a swath of primal like jungle land that's been untouched. You do get the sense that this place has evolved, probably not naturally. Like maybe there was some genetic interference, because even though you feel that connection, it feels a little different. The best way I can think of describing it, and I'm sorry if you hate this movie, but the best way I can think of describing it is Avatar, how the jungle world had a life of its own, and it had kind of evolved to a unique point where even the plant life seemed to have an intelligence of its own. So as you're reaching out, you get the sense that the suspicion that maybe the biodiversity of this place has evolved to a point where it can interfere technologically, it might be accurate. Because you're feeling, it's not a single presence, but you're feeling, you don't feel alone out here as you're looking out over the planet and looking out over the terrain, which kind of also hints that the journey there could be a little harrowing if you're not careful. Because the planet doesn't know who you guys are. And now you're...
Shot it.
Yeah, and you just shot it, right. And it probably, it's, I mean, the Centauran is definitely going to be familiar. The only thing you can get, even with your clairvoyance, is that due east, in the general direction that has been pointed out to you, atop of a mountain, is the ruins of what you can make out like giant walls that have been completely overgrown, but you can definitely see as you're you're gazing deep in through like the jungle clearings, you definitely see what must be the remains of a city of some kind that has been completely enveloped by the untamed nature of this place. And it's sort of in the general direction.
So, if we ever do have time for a vacation, Finn, I think actually this could be quite a lovely place for us. But I don't know if at the moment it is going to be an entirely safe one. These trees are, well, they rather remind me a little bit of the Psychic Sea of forests at home, but I don't know if they will like us as much.
Yes?
This was a city, the place where the tear is. It's all been overgrown.
It still stands, though.
Does
it?
Sits there.
Excellent. As I said, Centauran buildings will endure.
Quite so, in a sense. The trees might have been interfered with in some way. They don't feel like, well, I know what trees sort of feel like, and they feel rather a bit different. I don't know whether it's genetic. I don't know if it's something from the rip. But they feel off.
In a malevolent way or just an unnatural one?
Well, they might not be quite so happy because they might have been attacked a little bit.
Oh, that did happen.
Doctor, do you have any swords on board?
Of course.
We do less damage, is all I'm saying.
That's a good point. Wouldn't be Corsair without a sword, would you?
Probably not.
Is there sort of a way we can let them know we're just passing through?
I can certainly give off comforting vibes to my greatest extent. We'll see.
Oh my god, Roko's becoming the druid of the party.
Yeah, no, that was this whole sequence. I'm like, yo, I'm the druid.
You're the druid.
I'm the druid.
It's already a Keyleth note down.
See, I have a high
We just need to find a way to get you to choke slam something. And we're good to go.
heavens now.
Oh, give her time.
Yeah, give it time.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
No one knows who they were.
Where they come
or what
from.
they were doing.
A race of druids. From the dawn of time they came. Alright.
Sorry.
Don't ever apologize for Spinal Tap references. I'll take them any chance we get. Don't ever apologize. Alright, so
If you
you're just so good at the voice. It cracks me up.
you are the perfect ambassador.
I'm just a little overcall, but it is so terribly nice to be back around trees and plants.
And well, like, just as an idea, whatever this force that has claimed this planet is, it's part of Sontar.
So
So
then
in a
it could
sense-
serve Sontar.
Perhaps it already does.
Perhaps it's protecting the city.
Something to consider.
I should apologize to the tree.
Yes. Wouldn't hurt.
Very well. I shall go make allies. And he stomps past you all. And of course, throws open the TARDIS door, slamming it to the side, and stomps out. And you hear off in the distance, "Hello, future ally. In the name of the Centauran Empire, which still stands while I draw breath, I apologize for killing you. Though I did enjoy it. Thoroughly."
Please accept my apology in the form of a song.
It just kind of goes off into it. You hear it off in the distance.
Making some progress, I think. Perhaps we'd better follow him.
So?
So you guys are gearing up to go?
Yes.
As you're gearing up to go, you notice that River sits down. And
Oh, she came back out after.
River, yeah, she's been out like listening to you guys, but she sits and she says, "Darling, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to stay here with the TARDIS, and for real this time, as they say.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. Just, you know me, I hate humidity. It does terrible things to the curls."
The curls are always fabulous. If you prefer, you're sure? You don't want to see the jungle world.
I've seen plenty of jungle worlds. I'll be all right.
This is a bit of an aside, Doctor, but Roko said come back for vacation here. Can we take vacation through time?
Oh, we absolutely can.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
I know.
We have to do that.
It's been all doom and gloom since we found you, and you've been brilliant the entire time. But
Oh,
that's, we have the TARDIS. We can go wherever. We can do whatever. All the fun stuff, anyway.
well, I'll get more imaginative, but can we start at Woodstock?
Absolutely. You'd love it.
We are going to do that. We're going to have a 1960s episode of Doctor Who at Woodstock.
Woodstock 2.
Woodstock 2. Oh my god. You get there just in time to see them throw.
Didn't you?
Oh, I had forgotten about that.
You arrive just in time to see Limp Bizkit playing. No!
That'd be a funny way to start it, because like the Doctor has no
And
context
now
for which
Woodstock.
one is the good one. So
Doctor has been to Woodstock, I believe.
He would have to have been,
Doctor's
right?
been to Woodstock. I'm
I
pretty
feel-
sure they've referenced.
okay.
I feel like that's
That-
true.
In this universe, though,
We'll just
what
have
did
to
Woodstock
avoid-
become?
That makes sense.
It's probably the same.
It's just
What if
Woodstock.
Woodstock was the one constant in the multiverse?
Yes.
So then when you show up at Woodstock and it's exactly the same as it is in every universe. That would be
That's
beautiful.
That's why they're called the Who.
Concert in time.
Ah, very nice, very nice.
Love that.
Except for this Woodstock, you guys arrive and Zeppelin's playing. What? They couldn't make it to the other one. What the hell? Anyway, sorry. All right.
Old history Woodstock, go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the doctor aside before we head out.
Okay,
I-
River exits.
Would someone just stop Velik from getting entirely away from us?
Velik is in like the
Jackies.
fourth verse of, and even though you breathe carbon dioxide, and just like, he's just singing
I'll
off
keep
in the
an eye on
distance.
him.
We can be allies on the same
Sit outside and watch and
Meat
wait
Stick
for
follows
him.
you out.
Yeah.
Looks like Meat Stick's keeping an eye on
He's
Velik.
he's held him a
Making
little
sure he
frail
doesn't
and
fire,
trapped.
perhaps? Yeah. River says, I'm going to go lie down for a bit. It's been a bit of a journey. Make some cocktails, perhaps. Don't look at me like that, darling. I'm fine. I just don't like, the jungle thing.
I really rather thought you were a bit of a curious sort, River.
In the right company. And she coldly turns and steps down the catwalk and closes the door behind her.
Hey, let's not look a gift horse in the mouth.
Cillian's like, she's gone.
Where she's
Yeah, I'm gonna do this privately, which is probably the
Okay.
best.
Yeah, you want to pull her
Everyone, if
aside?
you would gear up for a bit of a hike. There's whatever you need.
Everyone starts getting like,
Sounds good to me.
okay, cool. So you guys going to do a quick aside?
Yeah.
You're out front, so go ahead.
So, not shockingly, River's lying to you again.
What? About what? How do you know?
caught her throwing up all over the TARDIS console. It was,
Ew.
yes, she cleaned it up. It's okay.
Oh, that's
But she didn't seem. She told me it was the food in the whale, but she didn't seem convinced by it. She seemed a little shaken, and I can't tell if she's lying or if she just doesn't even know what's going on. But is that what humans do when they're pregnant?
I don't know. That would be a bit odd.
I just, I mean, I figured she
Jealous,
might
maybe.
have been drinking, but that would mean you're holding out on me, Doctor, and I'd be very upset.
Not me, I promise. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, just she asked me not to tell you, so I told you.
Much appreciated. Do you have a tear to fix? But River did ask me for a private conversation.
River did?
Yes.
Which I had forgotten, but Sam reminded me.
You're like, yeah, no? Question mark?
This is one of those. We do have something to get on with, but I'm gonna knock on River's door.
Okay,
River.
you step down as everyone's suiting up and getting like backpacks, pulling out supplies from the TARDIS. Just kind of getting ready for the
You know the getting ready that you do when you're putting things in your bag and you're putting
water.
them in
Oh wait, I absorb
and
it when I
keeping
walk.
an eye really on other things that aren't your bag.
Right. Gotcha.
Roko has put like a Rubik's Cube, like an empty bottle of water.
A Game Boy from 1989. Just stuck that in there.
Cheese
Ninja
for her
Turtles.
backpack.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, right, can I please take a
Having a
sword? I
little chat
swear
with me,
not
stick
to
that I'll
chop
tell
at
you
the
about
trees.
later.
You best
Okay.
please chop at the
The game
swear,
away
just-
from the game.
Can I have a sword?
All right, cool.
You'll like it.
less blasting if you have a sword.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I still don't know what the hell you said to Matt.
No, and
I should have checked in with you on that.
Yeah, that's okay. And I'm gonna. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you know when I'm sort of nothing huge.
Okay, cool. Cool. And there's that BSG paranoia.
Yeah.
So.
I'm getting a sword. I'm blissfully happy right now.
Oh,
I haven't
what's
had
the damage
one
on
in
the
so
sword?
long.
So real quick before I cut to the conversation with River and the doctor, when you walk down and see the armory that the doctor has, it is essentially a museum, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a place to exalt weapons, so to speak, but a place to catalog people who have used weapons or like the adventures that the doctor has been on.
Yeah, bring on the guilt.
It's kind of reminiscent of that wicked awesome room that Connor McLeod walks into in Highlander, where the doors open and it's this museum from all these different periods in history. And you see swords and whatnot, and also alien weapons and stuff like that. A lot of them have been permanently disarmed. Like power packs have been like completely dismantled. But some of
I
these
was gonna
swords,
say that if you didn't.
some of these swords look pretty. You see, there is in fact a saber. A very familiar, like looking from probably your original time
I
period.
immediately pick it up and start fencing in this museum.
As you
Buckle, buckle.
and again with the movie references,
Those are
because
the
I can't
official
help it
words
with
you
my movie.
shout.
My whole life,
Buckle,
my
buckle.
whole life is based off of movie references. I swear to God. So as you're kind of like you're like flipping it around, and you're like and it's you have what I like to call a Mad Mardigan moment where you're flipping it around and really enjoying the sword, and then you see something amazing and go, and then you kind of walk over and you see it looks like on the wall, it looks like a technological like a glove that probably would fit onto your arm, either one. And it looks like there is a segmented blade that spirals around it and forms into a sword that comes out like Assassin's Creed style, just kind of sticks out. You just see it up on the wall, and it has some alien name underneath it. And underneath it is a note. Underneath it is a note clearly written by the doctor. Must remember to disarm this later.
No. She the average sword and just immediately.
If this was Final Fantasy, it would be called
Yeah.
Average Sword. All right,
Yeah,
so you
average sword.
grab the not average sword.
Yeah.
You see it looks like a metal glove a little bit, like a gauntlet, like a medieval gauntlet without the leather inlay to slide your hand into. But the moment you pick it up, it goes, it kind of opens up, so it's just ready for your hand to be put inside.
I put the regular hand in.
It goes, comfortably fits on.
Oh, why didn't I see that first?
You're kind of
Today's going to be a good day.
Did you guys just pirate off?
Yeah,
for a
so
minute?
what did I find?
You find a dagger. It's about 2 inches long. It looks like maybe. No, I'm just kidding. You find elvish rope. That's it. No.
Cillian, while we're packing, do you still have a flintlock?
I do, but I've got these laser pistols as well, so who cares?
So I don't need the.
Do you mind? I'm just having a bit of a nostalgia kick. I'm going into a jungle. I got a sword. Can I
Yeah,
please
go on,
have the?
mate.
Thank you.
Go on, mate.
Yeah, I mean, really, you find swords from different eras. You find. Sorry, guys, if I'm having to lean over because Jody's behind the camera. So you find swords from different eras, basically. It's sort of the same sort of get up that you see. You don't see anything quite as fancy as like a glove sword that retracts in a blade. You do see a couple of other weapons. Are you looking for guns or are you looking for blades?
I'm looking for both.
You're
Let's be
looking
honest.
so
Why do I
So-
keep all these things?
so what we need is a gun that shoots swords right now, right? And Jody's like, perfect.
Gun sword.
You do come across, it looks like an early version of a Centauran battle rifle that
I would
has
have turned that off.
it has been disarmed. You as a Time Lord know you could rearm it if you wanted to, just by looking at it.
Oh yes.
It would take it a few minutes to recharge to its full battery capacity because it looks like it's been out of commission for quite some time.
Yeah.
It has a name that's been cut off of it. It looks like it's been sort of scratched out. But the reason why this is kind of unique is it looks essentially like a short, big, it's thick and heavy the way a normal Centauran weapon is. But of course it has a very nasty looking jagged blade that sticks out from about the trigger point and kind of arcs out. It almost looks like those Gears of War weapons with a chainsaw underneath, but it's not a chainsaw, it's just a blade. It kind of arcs out. When you pick it up, you realize that the heft of this weapon is from the bladed part, actually, towards the end.
Okay.
And as you pick it up, you realize that the battery pack is connected to that blade.
Ooh. Yes, I'm definitely taking this.
And you're like, I'll take this.
And I'll probably just grab a regular, more standard,
Just-
an average sword.
Just because you and the doctor have been friends for hundreds of years, you know she's not going to be happy about any of this. Just giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
I know.
You're like, there are acceptable losses.
Yes. I'll pirate drink later. It'll be fine.
Will not. I'm never doing that again.
You say that every time.
I know.
Okay. So then we'll say at this point in the time you're having your conversation with Meat Stick out in the middle of Jurassic Park.
Oh, and probably Meat Stick has wandered off.
Yeah. And then we are going to cut to you and River.
Assuming she's willing to talk to me, she could just refuse. But
Well, we'll see.
I'm attempting to eavesdrop. I'm insatiably curious. I'm sorry.
I would notice.
No, I'm
Oh,
not
not
the
me,
idea.
them. Okay,
Yeah.
Never mind. All right.
In that case, I'm going to say gain a story point
Thank you.
because you're fulfilling one of your character flaws.
Please.
And we're going to have to roll here in a second.
Absolutely.
So you open one of the many doors to the TARDIS, and you see this massive, large Victorian bedroom with a 4-post bed and like the velvets and everything like this. Clearly a bedroom that's designed after a certain period in Earth history. And you see River is you kind of, as you're opening the door, you knock, and just in time she sits up and goes, "Oh, hello. Come to see me off, perhaps, before you leave? Or coming to see me before you're off?"
you were lying. You're ill. Why?
Oh, I'm so naive. There's more of a desperation telling her not to tell you. But what else could I do?
Well, tell the truth. That's an option.
You, darling, are going to lecture me about telling the truth?
Well,
What's the first rule
stretched it
again?
On occasion.
She just cocks an eyebrow and looks at you.
Well, fine. I'm right. But I have to know what's going on.
I just haven't been feeling well. That's all.
Is everything all right in the negotiation with the professor?
Yes, the negotiations went brilliantly. The professor did a wonderful job. He actually managed to disarm the entire situation. I was a little worried for a bit. One of the henchmen seems to have had some kind of large weapon and was positioning himself behind that little brat before the conversation began, but everything seemed to work out fine. Chronotis even got the men to apologize. It seemed like things are going quite well when we left.
Have you figured out where you know the professor from?
Not really. But if there's anything, if there's truth to what you've been saying about how everyone's sort of forgetting all these things, then it's possible that has had a hand in it.
That what's had a hand in it?
The temporal, paradoxical, timey-wimey things, as you like to say.
Well, if the world was just changing, you wouldn't have any sense you'd met him at all. You just no longer would have met him. Have you thought at all about... I asked if you would mind if Roko took a look in your mind.
She gives you this look, like this come now.
You can
Like-
trust them.
No, darling, I can't. I absolutely cannot.
If something has clouded your memories of the professor, we have to find out what. If I came with, would that be all right?
No, I will not allow them inside my mind. There are things, darling, that I've seen and things that I've witnessed, things about... Let me put it this way. I don't know the way things were back in your reality, but you and I still have a future here. There are things that are still going to happen that I know about that you don't, and you can't, and neither can they.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Well, then what do you propose we do? Because we need to know.
I don't know. but your companions don't like or trust me. That's fine.
You have to earn that trust. You can't be surprised to hear that.
I'm not lamenting that they don't trust me.
I am.
Well, I don't have to travel with them if I don't want to. I'm here for you and for what you're trying to do. But before this, my principal concern was saving lives. And that became a numbers game because the Time Lords are monsters.
But we don't understand the nature of their monstrousness because so much has been lost and clouded in people's minds.
What do you want me to do? The key isn't in me, it's whatever there's going on with these temporal rips.
You can't even remember how you met the professor. How do I know the key isn't in you?
It's the same as... She kind of hesitates as she's realizing what she's about to say, but you see she finally gets it out and she says, it's the same as when you died. We don't know exactly how. And I was there.
Doesn't that bother you?
Of course it bothers me. You said something to me and I can't remember what it was. I can't sleep at night thinking about that. But there's nothing I can do. The answer...
There is something you can do.
I will not let them in my mind. And that's not just because I'm distrustful, but because everything I've ever learned from you tells me that's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
They might see something about their own future that could... I mean, the rules have all changed, darling. There are things that are time-locked or supposed to be fixed moments in time that can be accessed now. The chaos that could create alone. Never mind that reality seems to be rewriting itself, and I'm only half Time Lord. I can't wrap my mind around the things that you're going to have to calculate in the coming days.
You're right.
Can I admit something to you?
Please.
I love your hair.
Thank you. I think yours
Been wanting to say.
looks just fine in the humidity. You know that. It's the first tell you were lying.
She shrugs.
Try to remember the professor.
I have. All I get is a sense that I've crossed his path once before, maybe twice. But I don't know what I remember him from. I don't feel particularly threatened by him. He was, as I said, he was brilliant in the meeting.
Yeah.
He seems like a doddering old man, but I mean, even for a Time Lord, I know he's ancient. But he reminded me a bit of you, the way he handled the meeting, the way he talked everyone down. It went very well. Everything went very well.
And your memory feels certain on that point.
Yes.
Right.
That was only that was not even yesterday.
I don't know what to believe anymore. Cillian's the only one who can tell when anything changes.
You can believe that I still, with all my heart, love you, and that I will do everything in my power to help.
Nearly everything.
No, everything. Everything that I can, I will do. But that also means not betraying you, and that entails not letting them see what I have seen. And sometimes that might mean I prioritize you over everyone else, whether you like that or not.
Including me.
No, I don't prioritize you over you.
Do you though?
What? She's like, now you're confusing me. I don't know what you mean by that. I've lost you and you've come back to me. I'm not going to let that happen again.
Just think about it. I would never make the decision for you. Roko is not like those who would misuse their power. They're not.
Roko hasn't misused their power. And at that point, I need you to roll.
Yep.
You're physically trying to eavesdrop, yes? Okay, so roll your coordination plus subterfuge.
Yeah.
Story point. What?
Cheeky bugger.
There you go.
It was nothing.
That's not misusing your power.
No, it's
Unless
using it
the power of
correctly.
yours.
4, wow.
6 plus 8 is 24.
Okay.
Yes.
River, it's a yes, but. Because River tied you. So when River says that,
Of
and
course
she,
not. You have no idea what Roko's been through. Roko's been brilliant.
at that point, River doesn't seem to hear it, Doctor, but you do. You hear. You're not sure. Yeah, you you hear a sound coming from outside the room for a split second, and your doctor instincts. But River doesn't look like she's noticed. And then she says, "You're telling me that not once has that creature ever used her potent and incredibly useful psychic abilities without permission on someone else?"
Well, we had a bit of a misunderstanding at first about when it was permissible to do it.
This
but-
is how you sound when you're trying to tell people about me.
And
was a
I
bit of a
love you
misunderstanding.
both very much.
I'm just saying, darling, it's rather telling when you're making excuses for someone. Don't get me wrong. If I was Roko, I would probably do the exact same thing, but I would own it, and I wouldn't let you speak for me on it. You know I'm bad. And she gives you that crooked smile.
I know you're River.
Synonymous, really.
Just think about it.
You see, she gets serious again, and she says, "I promise I will think about it. There's a lot of risks. I just want to make sure that if I was to ever allow that to happen, I would just want to make sure. Because as much as we may not like each other, the truth is I don't want to see anything happen to your companions. I don't. I know what they mean to you, and so they mean something to me.
Except when you left him to get eaten by a whale.
Maybe not the Corsair, but the others are quite lovely." And then she just says, "I just don't know. What if they find something that could tangle their timeline? I just don't know. I promise I will think about it, and I mean that."
Thank you. I make excuses for you because you can't all be the doctor.
Well, at least this new version of you is finally acknowledging your arrogance, which I find admittedly slightly attractive.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me know how you're feeling. I'm worried.
I'll be all right. I honestly think it might have been the whale. I don't know. I just felt a little sick earlier.
May I scan you?
Sure. She sticks her arms out. Kind of run your sonic over her. Yeah, it wouldn't be a roll. She's voluntarily. Your sonic is able to get. I mean, you're not a lot. I mean, it's doing sort of like a base biological scan. She's registering that she has a mix of human Time Lord DNA. There's a moment where you're kind of like you're looking at the DNA sequences pop up, and immediately in your mind you're thinking Rory and Amy, as you're kind of scanning her for a second. She's got Amy's eyes, and you're kind of like, oh, where's it? Rory's eyes. It's got one of their eyes.
One of each. One of each.
One of each. And so, but when you're done with your scan, for all intents and purposes, it looks like she might have like maybe an elevated stress level, which isn't all that unusual for people who travel with you.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, no, you're right. You're okay. Everything seems to check out.
That's actually odd. You seem fine.
I feel fine now.
Well, one doesn't usually sick up out of nowhere. And also, thanks for telling me about my TARDIS console, by the way.
I cleaned it.
Well, thank you.
I wasn't going to let the girl just sit there with my throw up all over her. I wouldn't do that to her.
Glad to
No,
hear
I
it.
love her very much. Even though sometimes she is the other woman. But I can forgive her for that, because sometimes I take her for a spin too. So.
She
Wow, how many entendres was that?
I don't know.
I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm actually enjoying it. It's delightful.
Look, that actually worries me quite a bit.
Well, if anything changes, again, I'll let you know. I don't want to be sick.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's a 3 strikes rule when it comes to throwing up all over your console. I'm sure the TARDIS is going to get a bit irritated with me, and I've seen what she does when she gets angry with those who are staying inside of her.
have to do it out of fear. Just want to know you're all right.
I'm all right.
All right. And you're determined to stay here.
For now.
Go see the ancient ruined jungle planet.
To be honest with you, darling, I don't know if you've remembered this or not, but when you step out into a jungle, there are things called mosquitoes, and that's true for almost every world you step on.
Fair enough. Just think about it. If you have another idea that makes it unnecessary, then we don't have to ever go into anyone's mind.
I'll think about it. Now, Shu, you've got a universe to save.
Right.
Roko, you hear them approaching the door.
Go outside the door, close it behind me, and whirl around.
As you're closing it behind you, you hear River's last quip. She says, "Let me know when you're back. We need to try out this new body of yours." And the door closes.
Unfortunately, there was actually noise. What did
She said, "Let me know when you get back. We need to try out this new body of yours," and closes the door.
Oh my.
I don't know if the audience can hear it, but they're setting up brick battles behind us, and it's just total chaos.
Yeah.
Ryan Green, are you okay? I think. Yes.
Oh God, he's regenerated.
Oh my God, Glitter Lord has regenerated.
I whirl around. Do I see anything?
Yes, you see Roko staring at you with wide eyes.
Hacking zone, almost done.
You're like,
It's okay. I walk over kind of like I'm going to the principal's office.
yes. You see some.
Go, I am trying so hard to get her to trust you. I thought she almost heard you in there.
Doctor, we both know something's wrong.
Well, yes.
And we need to take care of it.
Did you go into her mind without permission?
No.
Right, well.
I know that was only at first, but have I disappointed you?
Oh, goodness, no. Don't listen to River.
I would like to insight check that.
There's a split second where you're like, I'm going to go in her mind and find out.
No, just
so, honestly, this would only be a roll if you're trying to hide how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Then the doctor doesn't seem, unless you don't believe what the doctor's presenting, but she seems to be very sincere.
You have handled things no being should have to go through, and you've done it brilliantly. You've done everything I've asked, which is very kind, even when you didn't understand why I was asking it.
Yes, I did. I have refrained, even when I knew that someone was untrustworthy. And Doctor, it cost us dearly. I nearly lost Finn. You nearly lost all of us. Can we afford to let that happen again?
The problem is, on one subject, River is right. It's dangerous. She knows things.
So it will be dangerous. Isn't it worth it if there's a threat?
Choosing what we're willing to risk to face a threat we imagine is the whole job, really.
Yes.
And unless she agrees to it, we're not going to do it.
No, of course, I understand, but I really would like to talk to her about it at some point. Just say my piece.
I wish you could have met under different circumstances. You would get along so well. It's too late lamenting the wrong universe, but I would love for you to talk to River. Try to win her over. Maybe don't listen in on other people's private conversations. It's not wrong, it's just a bit
You didn't
rude.
tell me that I shouldn't.
Oh, come on.
Doctor.
You're very smart. You have better instincts than that, I know it.
And you're very curious. You know those instincts as well.
Yes, I do understand.
So, speaking
But
of
imagine
curiosity...
if I had gone to the four-poster bed, it'd be quite embarrassing.
Let's go discover a new planet, shall we?
Yes!
Alright, lovely. Here's this episode.
Fan fiction, fan fiction. All right.
Doctor Who After Hours.
Yeah, welcome to Doctor Who After Dark.
No.
Oh wait, that's Torchwood, isn't it?
Time Lords are filthy as well.
Side note, our friend Dylan is dying to come in if we need a Jack Harkness.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. He has the code.
Dude, honestly, and this may be sound presumptuous, but I'm
Is that a secret?
I bet you anything if we were able to somehow get a hold of him that he would want to come in actually and just get...
Dude. Oh. Don't joke like that.
Matt Key knows him. I'm just saying. Oh, you didn't know that?
Oh no, because of the
Right, he wrote for it.
Mm-hmm. Rode for him at the Eisners. Got him to dress up as Squirrel Girl.
I know. I was there.
Amazing. You were there? It
Yes.
was amazing. You should see it. It's incredible.
Right. Back on task.
Let's go find John Barrowman.
Everybody gift this because Gina's mind is blown right now.
Are you trying to make it where I can't do anything on this show? Because I'm just like, what? We're just
Trying.
sexy time with the Doctor, John Barrowman, more sexy time. It's like you're trying to break me.
I've been feeling fine. Oh wait, I get in trouble for singing that. Okay.
Dylan left for the jungle.
Go to the
Yes.
planet.
Leave for the jungle because Finn is very
Okay.
excited. By the way, does my flintlock have any ammo or is there
No.
gunpowder anywhere?
No.
Can I look for it?
I mean, you can if you want to scavenge around the TARDIS. That's going to take a spell. But
I mean, while
You
that
got-
conversation was happening.
No, you got a shot. There was a shot left in it.
was
There
there?
it is?
I just
Yeah, you had
didn't have
reloaded
any,
and you hadn't shot when we got
I
out.
didn't have extra gunpowder.
I'll let you spend a
'cause I
story
lost
point,
all of that.
and I'll give you all that stuff. You want to burn a story point? I'll give you powder and a bullet.
Actually, no. I like the one bullet thing.
Okay, it's Johnny Depp's.
One
It's
shot.
it's
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
want
totally
a one
Jack
shot
Sparrow's.
flintlock as
Yeah.
just memory.
He's only.
Yeah.
And as we
I'll get
move
my
on,
other
and
flintlock
as we
back.
move on with the story, I'm going to leave that particular reference with Barbossa is the greatest freaking movie pirate. I'm Team
Oh, yeah.
Barbossa. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay,
fair.
I just yeah,
As we
Elizabeth
come up,
Swan is the greatest movie pirate.
Also there.
Barbossa.
I just want to catch the doctor's
After
eye one
killing
last
me,
time,
then what were you
and
thinking of
then-
doing?
Albus Dumbledore is the greatest wizard of all time.
Fair.
Just flip the table and this becomes like a fan wars thing. All right.
Pointed glance at a person in a door and back to you.
Okay.
Hopefully that.
entirely sure I got that. I'm still by River's room.
We went out.
I'm assuming y'all
for
have
now.
moved on because
Yeah,
we're
right,
about to move.
excellent.
We're about to move
If
on.
it didn't read, it didn't read.
Okay.
Roku can be suspicious on their own.
All right.
That's
Everyone
fine.
is gathered outside the TARDIS now. Doors closed.
Maybe shiny weapons.
Everybody, once again, as you sort of leave the vicinity of the TARDIS life support bubble, you feel that oppressive heat, and then the gravity starts to push down a little bit. It's remarkable, and it's a testament to the tree size here that they've managed to grow so large. Also, what you're starting to realize is the air is heavily oxygenated. Like, there is a lot of atmosphere all around you. And the reason why I can say that is you're breathing pretty clearly despite the oppressive heat, but what you're also noticing from the occasional insect that flies by is this atmosphere is heavily oxygenated because the insects here are huge.
Yeah, yes.
Just like in the Cretaceous period again.
Ah, so the air is a little bit thin.
What's that?
The air is a little thin
Oh, yes.
The air's a little
for
thin?
the CO2
What?
folks.
What?
I breathe carbon dioxide.
You're into carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go the other way.
Oh, but again, this is like raw. You're getting it all. It's a very rich atmosphere. So the life here is, as I said, prehistoric levels of size and density.
I am trying to catalog every plant I see.
Yeah, there are some
Making a
some
list.
plants here that have that are new. You're definitely, like, as you're scanning with your umbrella, you're definitely getting that a few of these plants have grown into, again, it looks like at some point in their evolution they've kind of banked away from a natural growth, maybe some kind of genetic interference from the outside, or like a scientific genetic, maybe hundreds of years in their past, and kind of swerved back towards a more natural thing, incorporating their manipulation back into the natural world, allowing them to become a little more tougher. They've grown where they shouldn't be able to grow,
I'm
basically.
building a botany library. as
Okay,
well.
scouting.
Okay.
And Meat Stick's just keeping quiet, just kind of You can hear his footsteps behind you. With him and Veleg, it just sounds like it could be, you guys could be a dinosaur in the woods right now, just thumping along.
I suppose stealth is not in the offing.
Bit late for that, really.
Yeah.
That kind of went away about an hour ago.
Never really were one for stealth.
Okay, so
He's
let's.
beautiful though.
Yeah.
Is it day now?
Yeah, it's still day.
It was night last time.
Oh, it was night. Yeah, that would say by now the sun is. That's right. You guys arrived at nighttime, and you were all. Yes, the sun has started to come up. It is a yellow sun, so it feels quite homey.
And I get to bloom again.
You're like.
Now that I'm in the sunlight.
And you bloom by curling into me. The bloom.
Yes.
Cindy, that's why I bloom.
I know.
This is the romance and friendship episode of Doctor Who. So you guys are moving on. Yeah.
I love that Rocco pulls a movie theater like, look at this flower. Yep, it's beautiful.
Oh, Doctor.
Sorry. Jungle.
At that point, Meatstick is watching those two and just kind of looks over at Chronotis and goes and gives you like an awkward pat on your shoulder,
Thank you, Frank.
kind of trying to mimic the behavior patterns of those two, and just says, holding his cube, just says,
Take care of the humans. They're the ones that
Walks
are
over.
soft enough to get
and
crushed by things.
Meatstick starts patting everybody one by one on the back.
Well,
Oh,
thank you.
little flashy ones.
Nasty.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All the other
I'm
flesh.
happy to show you this display of affection.
Affection. That's so good.
I've heard it is. Yes.
Are you experiencing it? Are you fond of these folks?
Am I?
That's a question for you to answer. You know, I want to know what Meatstick thinks and feels.
I see.
How does Meatstick feel?
It is quite hot.
Fair enough.
The temperature levels are quite high right now.
Right.
Shall we continue?
Let's.
Pat on the shoulder. This big ood hand just.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
And you guys continue forward.
You've done good work with him.
More to go, I think.
I mean, he's not calling you master anymore, so.
That's true.
Yeah,
Thank
there hasn't been really a reference yet. It looks like he's just talking like.
Well, no, in the last.
Yeah, I
there
know.
were-
But like right now,
Yes.
you notice that there's a conversation. He seems more conversational now. He seems kind of like maybe there's a mimicry
friends
taking
and-
place. You're not sure.
That was a knowing yes.
So I'm going to ask everybody to make a high-pitched squeak noise. I'm waiting.
What?
I need-
We
I need a
did.
hi-
We all
You're supposed
did
to make
it.
a
Did you
high-pitched
did you make a
noise.
high-pitched squeak noise?
No.
Then okay. Well, anyway, that was Doctor Who, guys. Thanks for watching today. Amy decided she didn't want to play anymore. This is sorry, no, I won't take the joke far. So I need everybody to make a.
What's
Am I
going on?
confusing chat right now? As much as I'm confusing Amy.
What have I missed?
No, everyone gets it.
There with you. I'm going to ask everyone to make a
Chat gets it.
high-pitched
We'd like
squeak.
everybody to make a
High-pitched squeak noise, and Amy,
Jump.
you didn't.
And then we all did it. Except
We all
you
did
were
it.
guessing.
Where was I?
I don't know. You were. I guess you were probably playing the game that everyone showed up to play today. What were you thinking?
Normally silly jokes come first.
I know. I'm so dry. I apologize.
You're
It's
just
kind of
so
full.
ready to
Um,
do a jungle adventure.
I need everyone. This is going to be a. This is going to be a resolved survival, which I believe is the first resolved survival roll of the game. That's a tricky pair of words.
9.
Double sixes.
Nice.
9. Okay.
9.
Cillian, you're not enjoying your.
No, I
You're not
am
enjoying this atmosphere at all.
24.
Okay.
12. 17.
11.
What's that?
11.
11. I'm going to give you a +4 bonus. So.
Trees. Trees are
Yes.
lovely.
So you're honestly everyone's doing fine. Cillian, this after about 45 minutes of this hike, you're all noticing Cillian's starting to look a little rough. This is not. I mean, you
Cillian doesn't Cillian don't exercise.
You're an electrician from where did
This
you
is
live
my
originally?
Exercise.
Yeah, yeah. From the pub to a cab to home.
Cab? No, bus.
Bus.
I don't have cab money.
What? So where's Cillian from originally in the UK?
He's from the East End of London.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you're used to the usually freezing or usually ridiculously warm. Because it doesn't get oppressive in the summer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It gets really awful.
Do you guys get a lot of humidity there? But
Yeah,
you do.
no, it's intensely humid.
That's what I
all
remember
year
you
round.
telling me that, and
All
I
year
thought
round.
well, that would make sense because of all the fog. But I just remember thinking like, you guys are, I mean, you're an island for God's sake. But
Yeah.
that isn't. London's right there, but on the ocean. But
yeah, I mean, if the town I lived in was by a river, and the fog just rolled in off it every morning, all year, every day. It
We're
was,
so
like,
silly.
thick with fog.
as you're explaining this, every American in this room is like, I want to go. That
Well,
sounds
it
great.
was great. It is
Yeah.
great. I
Okay.
loved it.
I like
yeah.
California.
So yeah, as I was saying, it's Cillian's looking a little rough. You guys noticed that the sweat is bled through his clothes, and is rolling down off of his forehead. Yeah, it's your 45-minute jungle hike. Like, you're feeling okay, but like you can tell you're gonna have to start pounding back the water a little more than everybody else. Also, insects have become a little curious.
Yeah.
And when I say again, the
They're
insects
after
here.
me tender flesh.
Yeah. So remember when I was describing this as sort of like the Cretaceous period? So the insects here are large, to say the least. They are, I would say they're like one step above Louisiana, Australia, where you guys are.
Yeah, we don't get big bugs in the UK.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
We get pretty big bugs in Texas. Bigger bugs than East Texas you get. The closer you get to Louisiana in the deep south. In Texas, if you
Yeah,
turn the light and the
totally.
cockroaches are in the room, they scatter. In Louisiana, they go, what do you want? So,
Florida, they fly.
and they fly. These insects, they definitely look like they are interested in blood. They're the mosquito variety. They haven't gotten close, but you have seen a few of them land on trees nearby, like they're scoping you guys out.
Can I use the Sonic to do sort of a repelling effect?
You can
very
make
mildly?
you can do like a sound, like you can literally, it's sort of like a dog whistle like sound effect that would probably drive them away. Yes, I would say you could do that.
Gonna notice sort of how uncomfortable and be like, oh,
I'm probably gonna say that's a story point though,
got it.
which you can burn out of the Sonic if you
Yeah.
want. But yeah, they immediately scatter.
Oh, that's a bit better.
Yeah,
Thanks, Doctor. Those things are freaking me out.
it's at a frequency that you guys can't hear. Roko, you're vaguely aware that there's a sound, but it's not uncomfortable. You're just like, oh, right, okay.
I know those things. I used to have those little high-pitched things
Mhm.
for the mosquitoes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
pop
it's
them
the
in.
thing that like teenagers can hear, and once you're an adult, you can't really.
Yeah. Time.
Teenagers have magic hearing?
Yes, you didn't know that?
Kids in their ears.
The upper frequency hairs in your cochlea are very small and delicate, so when you're younger, they haven't yet been destroyed. Even if you haven't gone and listened to concerts and everything, as you age, you lose the sensitivity of those smaller hairs.
Which is why
in
you
the
can actually download those frequencies on your phone for a text
and
message
use them as
sound
text
if you're a
messages
high
in
schooler.
classrooms.
Whoa.
Salmon Tal facts.
I did not know that.
Sam and Tal facts!
Yes.
Helping you be a delinquent one tip at a time.
Well, there's also some stores that will like play music that has like that and play that sound to like make teenagers go away when they don't want teenagers to loiter on their property.
That's
Can't
funny.
do it anymore.
So,
man.
I need one more check from you guys. As y'all are pushing on through this thick.
Same,
The same one?
something
Yes, I'm gonna
resolve,
say
survival.
it's resolve and survival.
Exact roll.
One more check as you guys are pushing through.
Worse
Um,
this time.
It's a
Yeah.
I
2-mile
got
hike.
the same. I got 9 again.
You got 9 again?
Yeah.
Okay.
16?
18.
18.
Also
19.
What's that?
11.
Starting to. Well, that would make sense if it's starting to affect you. How about you, Corsair?
Oh, 16.
16. Okay. Yeah, Gina, Finn is starting to feel it a little bit.
Not showing it though.
You,
I just keep wiping
Nice
my
try.
brow with my metal arm and then,
and then you use the other one, and it's like metal as well. You're like, oh. Yeah, you're a little more used to this because you've trekked through jungle territories in the Caribbean before. With the thing you're not ready for is the gravity of this place. You essentially weigh like close to 50 pounds heavier than you normally do. So this hike is really, like as you're walking, it's starting to, it's like you're carrying sandbags on your shoulder, which again, as somebody who has come from that life and who has lived 11 years in space through hardship, it's starting to like, the fact is the 11 years in space is the part that's kind of becoming a hamper now. And so as you're walking through, there's a little bit of irritation. You're like, I used to be so, like, I need to get back to freaking, like, Finn is kind of like getting angry at her weakness, just like.
I get under
Maybe we don't vacation here.
his arm, like, oh, I just kind of want to cuddle in, but really I'm doing it to brace her a little bit.
And
Yeah, but this way you don't really notice that that's what I'm doing.
and in a bizarre sort
very,
of
very
like,
strong.
yes, I'm going there kind of way, the sweat coming off of Finn's body is actually kind of nourishing to the plant life that you got going on. And you're just kind of like, oh, hey.
It's getting weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting very Octavia Butler.
It's getting weird. So Cillian, you're getting to the point where you're not sure how much more you can take of this. And at one point, with that roll, you reach a point where you need to tell everyone you got to rest for a minute.
All right, guys, I'm having a really hard time coping with the heat here and the gravity and all of that mess. I need to take a rest.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let's all sit down for a moment. Are you
All right, sorry everyone. Human.
It happens.
Yeah, I'm afraid it does.
Finn
But
just
how much further do we have to go? All right, you can wipe that smug look off your face, Finn.
Who's got a smug look is, and he's letting his eyes do the talking, but you're looking at Veleg and he's just,
Yeah, well, I expect that from them.
yeah. This is the look I give when I'm reminding you that you are weak.
Yes, thank you. I had forgotten, even though I just told everyone. Yes. Thanks, Veleg.
You are welcome,
Yeah, great.
weak human. I'm glad to fulfill this role in the party.
But you're doing all right then, there, Finn. You seem like you're
No,
having
that wasn't.
no.
I'm studying the
Wasn't
floor.
Vain smoke. Sorry, I just.
I'm just
Make
I'm just
awareness-
yanking your chain, mate. It's all right.
Make an awareness
It's
result
all
check.
right.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I just need a
See
break.
what happens.
All right.
Maybe
I
meat
go sit next to you,
19.
slap you on the
19.
back, and I just say, it's.
I'm looking for
Sometimes
specific
forget there's
things,
more
but I'm
humans around.
looking at everything.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know, because these two look so. All three of them, they look human. I forget sometimes that they have super
19?
powers, sort
Okay.
of. I mean,
So you're sitting there
you
scanning
know what that is, right? You've
as
been
your
in
Sonic is
our
buzzing
world
over
for
this
long enough, right? You know
giant
what that
multicolored
means.
leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop for a second
I
because
think-
you've kind of seen the coloration on the floor as you kind of glance past. And as you're scanning this leaf, you realize your instinct kicks in as you realize something looks different from that glance as you pass through. And you just kind of casually look in that direction just to not, give it away. And you see about maybe 40 feet away in the dense foliage, very well camouflaged, are a pair of very large reptilian eyes that are staring at you.
Doctor,
And
I
it's very still.
don't mean to panic anyone. I'm very slowly
Okay.
backing away.
Sorry? What?
Okay.
Professor?
We're still chatting.
There's
yeah.
something. There's something in the forest watching us.
But I don't mean.
Which
mean to
direction?
get so
You hear Veleg
touchy.
say.
You know, I'm a bit.
And he hefts down Blue Death. It powers it up.
Hold on. If everyone could just.
Allies,
I
remember
thought we
allies.
agreed no shooting.
Professor, in what direction exactly?
I'm going to lean my elbow out in the direction without making eye contact, keeping the eyes in my peripheral vision.
Judging by the way he's trying to be very subtle about it and pointing, you all kind of immediately get the impression that you're being watched and that he's trying to downplay his actions. Like, you know how when someone's like doing this and you're realizing, oh shit, like someone's watching us? and also judging by the stiffness in Chronotis' body posture, you realize that maybe it's dangerous. So there's immediately a sense of alert, and everyone seems to react except for Meatstick and Velig. Meatstick, of course, is just the mask of calm.
I continue talking loudly as a distraction.
Okay.
And sort of get up and walk back towards Rocco.
Okay.
Yeah, I get in front of you.
So everyone go ahead and make a...
Sonic in that direction.
Okay. Sonic's not picking up anything. It just picks up life everywhere. But you can make an awareness resolve check to see if you can spot. Chronotis is trying to
Do I
point
get my
out...
forest bonus?
What's that?
Do I get my forest bonus?
Not for the perception check.
Okay.
So we're all rolling?
Yeah.
And this is for...
It's awareness resolve.
Were the eyes set in a humanoid-style skull or more of a lizard-style? Were they the front of something or on the sides of something?
Remember when he spotted the raptor and he put his hat down?
Yes.
Remember the parody we did for Signal Boost?
Yes, I do.
It's kind of the same thing where you've
Right.
spotted that off in the distance. It's about that far away too, except for it's not angled like it's looking that. It's looking at you guys. So it definitely like your instinct, with your long tenure as somebody who has studied life, your instinct is you are being watched by a predator right now. What did everybody else roll?
22.
20.
16.
12.
Okay. So what did you roll, Doctor?
20.
20. Okay. So only Corsair spots it against its stealth check, because as you all start kind of turning and looking, it does that thing that lions do when they realize that the herd that it's hunting is aware that it might be there. You know, when all the antelope just suddenly look in that direction, and you see the two of you who can see it, when all of you just kind of glance over to the side, it goes down, basically, like it's getting ready, in case you guys run.
Oh, yes, something.
Did you see it crane its head down? It's definitely a reptilian predator of some kind. As it cranes its head down, those of you who made your perception check can see it a little more clearly. The rest of you, you just see jungle. It could be invisible right in front of you. But
Yeah, definitely being hunted. Yes.
okay, so at this point, we're going into initiative because Velig is going to open fire. I'm guessing no one's talking.
What is an intimidate check at this point?
Okay, realistically, essentially this would be like trying to intimidate a velociraptor that's hunting you. It's a long...
By also being an angry lizard. There was the whole going into sort of primeval awareness and feelings
You wanna try
earlier
to
in the
psychic this thing?
clairvoyance, and so I would like to bring that within me in order to connect to my inner dynamic.
So this is a perfect example of a moment where I would say there's no way you're going to be able to intimidate this creature, because it's a pure primal, I'm going to kill you, your prey kind of thing. However, because you're getting creative with how you might want to do it, this is the perfect example of how story points would come into play, and you take my narrative and go, I'm going to do this.
I would like to try.
So if you want to burn, I'll let you burn 2 story points. If you want to try to, now are you going to try to psychically link with this thing?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds like
Cool.
the right answer.
Okay, cool. All right, so then I don't even know why this is going to be a contested roll, but we're going to see what its resolve is. Go ahead and make your roll.
All right.
I shall make mine. Oh, not bad for a
yeah,
savage
actually,
animal.
I was going to. Yes, thank you, Dave.
Go ahead and do it.
Yep. With 1 extra story point. They're burning down today. I better RP well.
Yeah, burning them points.
9 plus 25.
25. Okay, you connect to this creature's mind easily. You feel for a split second, you take over its impulses. Like it feels that the impulses of this beast immediately enter your entire being. You feel a savage hunger. This thing has gone without feeding for maybe a few days. It's having trouble finding prey lately, which could just be a totally natural thing. There's no evil intent. It absolutely wants to feed, and it sees a bunch of helpless creatures in the woods. You know it has a nest. It does have... You're not sure where. It's aware of where it is. It's sort of like this knowledge of that it's nearby, but it's a mother basically, and it's found food. And it is you're beginning to become aware too that if you tried to intimidate this thing, you're going up against a hungry mother that wants to feed its babies. So you're not sure if you're going to be able to intimidate it, but now that you're linked with it, you might be able to do other things, like convince it to not do this.
All right. Well, yes, I rather think I would like to convince it of that.
Everyone's taking note, by the way, Chronotis, because you're actually seeing Roko use their psychic ability. You were all watching this change come over Roko too. Finn, you've never seen this look in Roko's eyes, but you see this sort of like, it's a wild look. All of a sudden, their eyes kind of widen a little bit and they kind of get low. It's almost like a savage, barbaric look in their eyes. And this creature that was ducking down low and making eye contact with you guys suddenly just kind of cranes up and pulls its head back, and Roko and them just link. What do you want to do?
I would like to see if I could convince it that we seem like we're poisonous.
Okay.
You don't want to eat us.
With that roll,
like those fish and everything.
You spent story points, and with that roll, you definitely start to feel like, as you kind of insert the suggestion, you're kind of getting the impression that it's becoming like disinterested. That it was almost, you know, when cats' eyes, the pupils widen when they're about to pounce, you see its eyes kind of narrow again, like it's getting ready to go out of predator mode. And you guys watch. It's fascinating to see, because all of a sudden this creature loses the body language, and then you hear like this blast of hot air come out of its nose as it sort of moves on, unconcerned of alerting you to its presence anymore. And Roko, as you kind of pull back, this dinosaur creature just and starts to leave.
Was that you?
So this thing's pretty huge, eh?
It was probably, as it's leaving, you're getting an idea of how the size of it. It was probably about 7 feet at the shoulder, and it was bipedal.
And we all saw it once it stood up, right?
Kind of got a sense of it, yeah. It definitely had a reptilian dinosaur-like head. Doesn't look like a raptor, but it definitely had like a long, elongated snout and large teeth. It was a massive predator. Yes, massive.
If you're watching at home, take a drink now.
Yeah, exactly. That should be the game, yeah.
Was that you?
Well, I don't like it when things threaten my friends.
Well done.
Is it all right?
Well done.
At this point...
Thanks again, Roko.
Yeah, Cillian, at this point, you're feeling the adrenaline kick that you just got. You're like, oh, we can keep moving.
Get that look in your eye more often.
Oh, no, I have to say for special occasions.
Yeah, maybe next time I'll just power through the old exhaustion there.
At that point, everyone's realizing.
I might, yeah. I'll let you know. Thank you.
Meat
Thank
Stick
you.
could give you a piggyback ride.
Oh, I'll take that. That's a great idea. Would you do that?
What's that?
She said Meat Stick will give you a piggyback ride.
I think Meat Stick would definitely be amiable to that sort of thing, I imagine.
Very well.
Oh, nice one.
Turns around.
Kind of you. Do you remember? A bit gentle. Humans quite
Picks
fragile.
you up with one hand and throws you over his shoulder.
Oh my.
Your job, young man, is to keep a lookout. Make sure you're looking in the direction.
It's not comfortable, but...
Aye, sir.
At that point, again, we were entering initiative and you went into the doer. So as this is all happening, you guys notice that Velig's rifle, which was powered up with blue plasma, like ventilation coming out the barrel as it's getting ready to be fired and annihilate everything in front of it, he slowly starts to lower it as he realizes the creature's gone, and he just kind of has this like look on his face and says, I did not fire.
Thank you. Very good job.
Good man.
Well done.
Did as he was told. Very good.
And then he just goes,
You've made a wise strategic decision, Velig.
yes. And he hefts it up. He's just like, something. Something.
Tactics. That's what I know from the Centauans.
May I please kick this tree?
I'm looking at Roko.
He could just fire it into the sky or something.
I don't know if they want to make a lot of noise.
I just pick up a rock and throw it at Velik and say, hit this!
It bounces off his potato head and he says,
Oi.
Kick the rock.
He looks at you for a second. You go, kick the, and he goes, BAM! Fires off the gun at the rock. This is huge crater that immediately it evaporates on the ground as the kickback from the gun shoots straight at his feet, almost rockets the Centauran off the ground, and as he sets back down and he goes,
Oh, fantastic.
Congratulations, you won.
kick what?
Do you feel better?
Yes.
Okay, take the finger off the trigger, please.
Yes.
Right. Let's go.
You are my friends, you understand me. And he just moves forward.
You just called us his friends.
That's true.
We all friends,
I
right?
hate that thing. The gun, not belly.
Yeah, once again, wildlife has scattered.
It
Right,
does make
well-
him happy, though.
You guys can hear the distant, like, cracking noises as it continues to echo off in the distance, this blast.
So, before we make any more friends from that tremendous noise...
I have to pause you because it's 1:52 and we take our break at 1:45.
Oh, yeah.
So let's take a quick 10-minute break, and when we pick back up, we'll be arriving at the gates of the city. Okay? Okay. We'll get this thing going. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, Felicia Day here. It's been a while. What's going on? Hey, I've been away, and you might have known that I had a baby. I popped a baby out. I had a C-section, so it didn't come out of my vagina. But it was a complication with my placenta. Do you want to talk about it more? Because I can talk about it. No? I'm really here to announce that today, April 14th, you can see me on Netflix. I am in the new Mystery Science Theater 3000, and the new season, all 14 episodes, are available right now. I am so excited because as a kid, Mystery Science Theater 3000 was one of my favorite shows. Me and my brother Ryan, who you guys know, sat down every Saturday and refrained from hitting each other just for that 1 hour and a half because we really thought it was not a good relationship. We should go to therapy. Anyway, this is a really exciting reboot. Jonah Ray, who you might know from the Nerdist podcast, is the new host. We have Patton Oswalt is my henchman. I don't know. Anyway, he's amazing. He's TV's son of TV's Frank, which is it's a whole thing. Just watch it. I'm not going to spoil it. Okay, let me see. What else could I talk about? Oh, and we have guest stars. We have so many guest stars. I guess I could say there is. Well, I'll tell you, but it's not really legal for me to say. So, could you bleep it out? So there's that guy from what's his name? Oh yeah. I knew his name. I was just pretending. God, why don't you come back later? Because honestly, you were the first adult I've talked to in like 2 months. It's like, I don't. It's hard. I don't talk to anybody but this baby. I mean, I love her. Her name is Calliope. You want me to show you a picture? Just check my Instagram. It's really cute. She's cute. You know, sometimes she coughs and farts at the same time, and it's like, it's really funny. And she had diarrhea over the weekend, which was kind of upsetting. It looked like pumpkin soup, and then it turned into green jelly. And then I called the doctor. They like, unless it's black or white, doesn't matter. Which leads to the question, what does white poop look like? Don't Google that. Please just tune in to Netflix right now. Use your own account, or I don't know, whatever you need to do. Just watch it. Maybe I'll come back later because I need to talk to other adults more. Okay. This smells like vomit. Okay. See you later.
Oh. Oof. Sorry.
It's kind of hard when the seat's only a silhouette.
I know. Oh, what? Are you serious? That's it?
We staged this cheesy MST3K parody for nothing.
Yeah, no, we actually spent a lot of money, like, rigging this whole VFX thing and the silhouettes.
Now we're in this empty bedroom that looks like the Twitch set, so that's kind of...
Yeah, and does she even play guitar? That seems like false advertising.
I don't see a violin anywhere. She's a violinist, right?
Is she really?
That's what I heard. Why is there a
Wow.
chalkboard? Like, is that so you remind yourself?
Don't wake the baby!
Oh, I woke the baby.
I just realized there's an announcement that I forgot to make at the beginning of the episode. A quick reminder to everybody. International Tabletop Day is April 29th.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
April 29th is Tabletop Day.
I love
Never
that.
gonna leave my head.
By the way, to everybody who saw the music video that we did for International Tabletop Day, I was so happy to be there for that. I recorded, people have asked because it was recorded, it's sped up basically, so that everyone's moving like crazy. And I've heard some fans go, oh my gosh, does the actual video exist of them like performing this? Can you guys hear me? Can they hear me?
Now they can hear you.
Now you can hear me. So do I need to repeat all of that?
No, they can hear you, but it was just low.
It was low. Okay, sorry. So essentially what I'm trying to say is I was back behind the camera filming it on my iPhone. So I've got an original recording of all you guys and then Jason and Amy up on there singing demonically slow while you guys are like doing your whole thing. I will post it. It is demented, especially because when everyone spins around and collapses at the end, everyone was sick, especially Mercer, because he committed. He went all the way. And so like when everyone hits the ground, you just hear everyone groaning, and Matt's like, "Why did I do this?"
We did the
it's a lot of fun.
exact number of takes past which several of us were not gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It was like when we finally did the last one, we were like, and that's a wrap.
I was surprised at you, Sam, because you spun faster than anybody.
Well, yeah, that video wasn't sped up at all. I really do spin that fast. It's almost as if I have some sort of... No, I can't think of the word.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump back in. So we last left off.
The other announcement is that Splattercat is the best.
Splattercat the best. Oh, and by the way, Josh apparently messaged Duncan when he was on his phone when he wasn't supposed to be, but it did afford us the opportunity to acknowledge that one of our watchers, Josh,
Potter boy.
Yeah, he is going to be playing Doctor Who on International Tabletop Day because of the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is the system. And we've had a couple of people say that they want to try playing Doctor Who because of watching us. So that's wicked cool.
I think a few people have said they've never watched Doctor Who, and now they're starting to watch Doctor Who.
Which is mind blowing.
Which is amazing.
Like
BBC.
Yeah,
Hear that,
BBC. Yeah.
There's still 11 people who haven't seen Doctor Who on planet Earth. And they're watching right now.
Okay, so when we last left off a few minutes ago, you guys had stopped on your second, like you had to do a pit stop real quick as you were going through this jungle trying to get to this dead city. We pick up now sort of like a cut ahead, like an episodic like cut to. The lot of you standing outside the walls of this overgrown city in this primal world. Yeah, it's exactly like I described it to Rocco. It is an ancient city that is built purely out of metal. I mean, it looks like it was a cold, militaristic styled stronghold that was built out of high, like powered Durasteel. You know, the stuff that they make battleships out of. Kind of like this was defensible. In every single, there's nothing about this that is not Centauran. Do you know what I mean? Everything functions as a highly defensible, strategic, great, like military grade material, weapons platforms, everything. It looks like it's been overgrown and dead for centuries. Not just vines, but grass and greenery, like from constant rainstorms and weather changes and possibly ice ages that have come and gone. You've seen that a lot of the ground has also shifted up. So sometimes there's moments where just rock and dirt have grown up, which has grown over with grass and foliage, has grown up to almost the same levels of the walls. So it looks like over the next few centuries that the planet's natural, like the natural course of this planet's biology will consume the city as a whole. Just devour it in foliage. And you guys have happened upon it. There is for lack of a better word, describing it, like a front gate where, and a road that looks like it's been grown over as well, leading into the city. These walls are probably close to 100 to 120 feet high and are still dwarfed by the trees of this planet.
Nature red in tooth and claw.
Yeah, and that is where you all stand. And of course you can hear birds of paradise style like songs all over the place, and the sounds of insects and distant animals. Everything that constantly reminds you that you are in a hostile environment on a primal world. Yeah.
Really quite lovely.
I'm shading under my umbrella.
Why do they build such big buildings if they're so small?
Because they can, probably.
What do your people do with big buildings since you're so small?
Touché.
Size is not important, you hear Velig say. We build them so large because there's a many of us. We are legion, or we were.
Hairs are where and when they are. Such a strange place for them. Time for them. You know.
Time? What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are the tears now? Here.
The tears aren't now. It's not how tears work. Tears are they're beyond now. They just are, and they're doing quite well. We should be moving on. It's getting dangerous.
Yeah, your hand, it looks like the watch hand is kind of, it looks like it doesn't know which direction it wants to go, but it's leaning in the bad direction.
What? What's that you're checking on?
I built this device. It's actually it's complicated. I'm sure you say you wouldn't understand often, but honestly, you wouldn't understand. Suffice to say, though, that it helps detect and check for paradox and tears in the fabric of space-time. And as you can see,
Quite like the shape you've chosen.
yeah, well, I thought it's always classical, really. When the hands reach midnight, it doesn't matter where the hands are anymore.
Right. And how are we doing now?
It's 4 past, slowly moving to 3 past.
Did it move back at all once we closed the first rip?
It has moved. I wasn't aware you had already closed a rift. That would explain a few things in my calculations.
Okay.
But it definitely moved closer when I met you.
Oh.
And you are definitely part of the equation. Two of you. I'll know more when I see a rift.
Let's head that way, shall we?
Yeah.
You are picking up paradoxical energies are increasing as you're walking deeper into the city.
If you would, just keep an eye out for changes. Last time we got close, flowers started growing out of an asteroid.
The high frequency of your sonic is still powering through. After you guys walk in for a moment, are you delivering coffee, Sparkle Lord? Was I not supposed to point you out? Because I like
Paradox.
Paradox.
Does anyone remember him being here?
Oh my God!
Remember what? What do you mean?
Who are you
He's been
talking
here all
about?
along. I talked to you. No.
Glitter Lord.
It's all over.
Sparkle Lord is like his upgrade. It's like the evolved Pokemon version.
Yes.
This tea tastes like coffee.
This tea tastes like
What's
coffee.
going on over there?
Yeah, there's a horrifying moment as y'all are walking that's over in an instant. But some of the foliage above, as y'all are walking, it suddenly shifts, and all you kind of start as you notice it moves. There was an arachnid of some kind that was easily close to 10 feet in diameter, perfectly camouflaged above you guys. And as you got closer, the sonic seems to have, you just see it go, it's essentially a massive prehistoric spider.
Can Velig start shooting yet?
No.
I'm going to draw my sword and not do anything, but just have it out. Just
You seem to, it crawls up over a giant bridge formation and kind of disappears behind some rubble. But it moves away quickly.
Beautiful.
Yes, but also dangerous.
Alarming how well camouflaged it was. The fur all over its body was the exact same coloration of all of the plant life around it.
Oh, if we could just keep an eye out, that would be...
Yep.
Sorry.
Velig doesn't seem to be looking at it. He's staring at the ground with a troubled look on his face. And when you all kind of look to see what he's seeing, you're seeing the same scene. You see corpses, ancient corpses of Centaurans in body armor littered throughout the street. Some of the body armor looks torn, but most of it doesn't look like it was ripped per se. It looks like the passage of time has had its way with this, and maybe they've been picked clean. But you're seeing Centaurans in various states All bones. There's no everything about it would indicate that they died a long time ago. But being as hardy in stock as Centaurans are, these bones have not decayed at all, and they're scattered all over the place. In fact, the more you walk, you realize there's thousands of them.
Are they
a
about
lot
the
of them have
same
been grown
age?
over.
Are they about the same age as the one we found near the TARDIS?
It looks like they look like they're in the same state.
Yeah.
Oh, Veleg, I'm sorry you have to see this.
Why?
Well, because I think it would be a bit unpleasant.
There is nothing unpleasant about death. It is a natural part of life.
It's actually quite philosophical.
I read that somewhere. It was boring, so I threw it away.
You're a librarian, don't throw things away. But that's not the point. Whatever happened here happened a long time ago. Just checking that you're alright.
Checking. He starts punching himself in the chest.
Oh, no.
Punches himself in the arm. Kind of flexes and says, everything seems to be functioning normally.
Fantastic. Well, keep us updated.
Also at that moment, you realize that Meatstick is staying very close to you. And as you all are about to move away, you notice that the moment that spider started moving, Meatstick sort of interjected himself between you. He got between the two of you and the spider. Just kind of very...
Am I still
Yep.
on his shoulders?
Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like, he's angled himself away. So
Okay.
Meatstick basically slid over like Smooth Criminal style, just whoosh, and then got between the two of you and is just watching up ahead, watching for the spider.
Can we give him a foot?
Veleg, are you okay?
Amy, are you okay? Are you okay, Amy?
Amy, are you okay? Are you okay?
Are you okay, Amy?
Amy?
But are you okay?
Thank you. Keeping a good look out there, Meatstick.
Shama.
Sorry.
Carry on.
Never apologize.
And you continue to move through the city. As you continue to move through, this was indeed a bustling civilization and home. I mean, this looked, apparently Veleg was correct, this looks like it was the capital of the military might of the Centauran Empire. And moving through the streets, you're seeing there are no cars, everything is a tank. And everything looks like it's been grown over or claimed by this world. True to Veleg's boastful claims, it looks like it would take very little to repair a lot of this stuff and get it up and running again. Even though time and foliage have claimed them, it might take just a few hours of Time Lord brilliance to reactivate some of these tanks if you ever wanted to. Are you sure? There's no bloodlust in you? Okay, I'm just checking.
Decide with the jungle a bit.
Veleg's like, I can teach you. Bloodlust is easy to find. You dig through the chest, find the heart, pull out the blood, and then lust over it.
Pretending I didn't hear that.
Reactivate tanks.
Reactivate tanks. Yeah. The closer or the deeper you guys get into the city, you realize you're approaching a very large central complex that is fortified and built. It even has sort of a, not a moat, but it looks like it's surrounded by multiple rings that probably originally just dropped into a deep fall. It looks like this is not a place you could storm, but essentially as you get closer into the center of the city is this massive citadel. And it is behind rings and rings of what would have been drop-offs, but has been filled in by earth and foliage and plant life and trees that have grown hundreds of feet. So this place is built onto the side of the mountain. Maybe there's an underground part of the complex. But recognition starts coming into Veleg's eyes, and he's staring in bewilderment at these trees that have grown up in between the ring centers that protected this place from a from a 360 assault, essentially. And he walks up and looks down, and he says, "This used to drop many, many hundreds and hundreds and thousands of feet. It has been some time.
I mean, far in your future.
Impossible. The Centauran Empire cannot fall.
Well, if we fix the rift, maybe it won't.
Indeed. The rift that makes things do other things that they're not supposed to do. Can I shoot it?
No.
Oh, we definitely shouldn't. Yeah. I had quite enough of
We will find the appropriate gun, perhaps.
The doctor knows how to kill it.
Yes, we are going into a Sontaran stronghold, which means we will find all sorts of delightful and happy-inducing weapons inside.
Yeah. That should be fun.
Certainly something more interesting than that bladed object you carry. Something fitting for a weak creature like yourself with a metal arm. Like a cannon that shoots acid.
I'm into the acid today.
Very well.
Quite so.
How about flames?
I'm a bit taken with pointy things.
Then we shall find one that shoots pointy things. And then we will burn time with acid.
Again, not quite how it works, but...
Yes, we had that discussion. Forgive me. Let us move forward. He hefts that gun up onto his shoulder and begins to stomp his way towards...
Lead on.
Palace of Death.
As you approach the front doors of the Citadel, which is open, it looks like it had those metal, it looks like a wall that kind of slides open, allowing things in and out. I wouldn't say necessarily a portcullis, but the equivalent of like a very futuristic doorway that's designed to be so solid into the make of the wall that it looks like it would be part of the wall had it been closed. But it's adjacent. It's kind of like jagged off to the side and barely staying on. It looks like plants have grown underneath it and have actually kind of lifted it up. But again, as you're walking across the bridge, there's not too many places here that foliage could have grown up and over. So you're now walking on metal for the first time. And as you're walking across, the visible bodies of Sontarans everywhere are impossible to miss. In fact, as you're approaching the gates, you're kind of stepping over them. And you're starting to lose sight of the metal because there's so many ancient dead bodies here. As you all move through, when you get inside the facility, almost instantly, you hear like a powering up this, and you see as lights begin to activate.
Something's still working. Bellic, are there any defenses that we might want to know about?
This place was a fully automated death trap.
Do you know how to turn it off?
By dying.
What does it run on? How is it still functioning?
I was a librarian, unfortunately. I do not know the engineering schematics. I was not cloned for such a thing.
They didn't keep the schematics in the library.
They did keep the schematics in the library, but it was my job to organize the library, not read the things.
Right. Well, we're trapped in a death machine in a palace of war. This is not my favorite day.
Welcome.
Is there a...
Echoing.
Shink.
So when you do the shink, your glove immediately, all the metal begins to spiral off of it and it goes...
Oh, you took that?
And then the fragments, it's almost like a liquid metal effect where they become
I
a
have
solid
two metal
sword.
arms.
And it becomes a long blade. It weighs almost nothing at the end of that fist.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, you guys have never seen Finn bust out a sword on her knuckles, but there it is. You recognize an ancient assassin weapon that you
Would you
managed
rather
to...
it be a gun?
And
so
to which
many
I have already
feelings right
hefted my
now.
Sontaran blade.
I was
gun
going
thing.
to turn that off. Oh my goodness.
Actually, you already did. I just turned it back on. Just didn't get.
Which is the one that I said I was going to turn off? One of the
gun.
note.
The sword, you can't turn it off. The gun, you were going to... You turned
I
off.
left a note.
You turned off Jody's gun.
Oh,
I turned it
mine.
back on.
Yeah. Mine you were going to disable.
I was going to turn that off.
I figured we're on Sontar. The system might recognize Sontaran weapons and register us as friendly.
That's a very fair thought.
Actually, not a bad idea. Velig, can you tell it we're friendly and have? Can it talk? Can it sense these guns?
Has the battery pack charged up
Yeah.
during the walk? Okay, so I turned it on.
Beleg's about to open his mouth, and you hear the voice say, "There is no cause for alarm. You are welcome here."
Right, yeah, that's good.
Nope, still alarmed.
Good job, gun.
We are.
Has that ever worked?
Has what ever worked?
Telling someone, it's fine, be calm, and then just they do.
There's been some time since I've tried to reassure anyone.
What am I talking to, by the way?
A moment. And everyone sits in suspense for a few seconds until you hear a... And a around the corner you see it looks like an old man with a shaved head, possibly human. It may be a little human adjacent, ridges across where their eyebrows would be, alien descent of some kind.
The
No,
species or the person?
It doesn't immediately come to mind when you see them, but they have what looks like a very simple metal cane that they're leaning on. This man looks, to say they look elderly is being hospital. It would take Walder Frey times 2. This guy looks positively like a fossil as he's moving in, and very slow, taking his time, and then finally comes to a stop and leans on the cane and is quiet and just regards all of you. He's wearing this long white robe it's layered, multiple layers, almost like if you saw a holy man kind of, but perhaps like an elder of some kind, like a revered elder. And he leans on his cane. It seems like the walking has kind of tired him a bit, and he just stops and
Hello.
and regards all of you.
Are you the guardian of this place?
Guardian? There is nothing to guard. This place has been dead for centuries.
It's a little less dead than we thought, actually.
Yes, I suppose that's true. He nods and says, I am here. And the world seems to have flourished. That is encouraging.
Who are you?
I'm called Dolandarius. And you are welcome here.
How did you come to be here?
This was once my home.
But you're not Santaran.
He kind of gives a sad smile and says, actually I am.
Really?
And Velig says, impossible! You are feeble, and you are tall, and you are old. Santarans don't live past 80. Most don't live past 20. And he gives Velig just a long, hard look. And how is it that you have come to be here?
We have come a great distance and some time to get here. There's something very dangerous that we want to stop, and it's here in your city.
Dangerous?
Oh, quite. You haven't noticed sort of a weather phenomena, have you?
He cocks his head to the side. Weather phenomenon?
Like an old sort of thing hanging in the air that looks quite wrong and disturbs everything around it.
Are you referring to the Rip of Paradox?
Yes, that would be it. Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, that is what has brought you here. I see. And who are you?
I'm the doctor.
Is that your name?
Yep, that'll do.
Curious. A title for a name.
Pleasure to meet you, Dolandarius.
Pleasure to meet you. Is it just the doctor?
Just the doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor. How charming. Is that given to you at birth, or is it chosen later in life?
This is really important. This feels...
You must have this conversation all the time.
The professor's right. I suppose we can move on to other matters.
You are the professor?
Yes. Professor Chronotis. Pleasure.
You have a name.
Yes.
Why don't you have a name?
I do. It's the doctor.
But you're Professor Chronotis.
Yes.
I see.
Seems rather simple. Individuals have individual names. It's how we do have a different system. That doesn't matter. We actually...
This is Cillian, this is the Corsair, this is Finn, this is Rocococo, and this is Velig, third librarian of an ancient form of this place.
And Meatstick.
And Meatstick.
Time is pressing. Together. And having issues. We need to deal with...
Yes, very well, of course.
Why haven't you... why are all these bodies still here?
Because I could not move them.
Are you alone?
Yes, though if all goes well, perhaps not for much longer. He smiles.
Sorry? What was that?
Perhaps you should come see. It's good. It's very good.
Grow more clones, perhaps.
It's good not to be the last.
I find when people say something is good, usually means it isn't. That's good.
Velig leans forward and says, I wish to kill this man.
No, absolutely not.
Very well.
Yet.
A convincing argument. I shall ask you again later. The Dalandarius, he leans back on his cane and says, I can take you to the Paradox Rip.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Good, good. I want someone to see this. Today is a good day. A very good day. Very good. And he turns and you see him go and then he reappears on top of the stairwell that's going straight up towards the back, like almost like it's a palace. It's about 200 yards away. You see his little figure just appear. It almost looks like a projector was taken offline and then reestablished on top of the staircase. And he turns around as he goes, comes back into existence and goes, this way. I apologize for the stairs. This place does not quite have all the power that it used to anymore.
Would you? Is it dangerous?
No, thankfully, the wildlife stays away from this complex.
Is the complex dangerous?
It was once. It's not anymore. The death machines that the others used to have in place here, they've all been taken offline.
Oh, fantastic.
Horrible, horrible things.
Starting to like it a bit more in here.
It spirals back around your arm and just fits back onto the gauntlet.
I'm keeping my thing out, just in case.
Excuse me? I'm just kidding.
Can I, as we go, I'd like to...
And there goes Jody. My God, Jody. Okay.
I'd like to scan him to see if, like, is he a hologram?
And you kind of pull out your Sonic and just... Yes, he is, in fact. He's a computer projection. Your Sonic detects that it's a bunch of photons being formed into the image of an old man.
Explains why I didn't sense any minds.
Shall we?
Right, shall we?
Yeah.
So you move up these staircases and there's a little bit of awe. I mean, Velig looks disturbed, but there's a little bit of awe as you're ascending these stairs because you are walking inside the last vestige of a dead civilization that you once knew, Doctor. But these halls have been vacant for hundreds of years now, and you do see dead Sontarans all over the place, corpseified and bones and all manner of weapons are still laying around as well, but it looks like those have also not only been grown over, but it looks like they've been grown through. Velig is still taking it all in, but is understandably and uncharacteristically quiet. Meatstick, who's still, by the way, carrying, your stomach is starting to get a little sore. He's not exactly the most comfortable shoulder to be on, but it is kind of funny that you're just kind of slumped over, shoulders like, cool. As you're walking up, Meatstick is sticking close to you, Doctor. It's sort of like that protective thing that he's got going still, with Cillian over his shoulder. You guys ascend all of these stairs getting to the top. It looks like there was probably a conveyor system that's been offline for years. This place has been so overgrown that it's hard to tell what it originally looked like, as you're actually seeing canopies of trees have grown inside. Interestingly enough, he's not wrong. No wildlife. No birds, no insects, just plant life that has grown up in here.
Checking for radiation of any kind, be it chronal
That's
radiation.
an excellent idea. Go ahead and I'll say go ahead and make a. This will be a roll. I'll say make a ingenuity technology check.
Ingenuity technology.
Yeah.
No technically adept. Bonus.
I'll let you use tech adept here.
All right.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. So another +2.
All right.
So tell me what you get.
23.
23. You detect very low levels of radiation, nowhere near danger levels. It's residual radiation from your scans. What you get is it's probably the remnants of a very old atomic event.
Interesting. safe-ish. Mostly safe, I suppose.
Yeah, checking out the environment.
Yeah, nothing pressing.
All right.
I suppose with the giant paradox tear, safe is once again relative.
So
It's time
Darius,
pressing.
with no any kind of other structure around here, how are you keeping this place running? Where's the power coming from?
Well, there are various power reserves that I've used. Dalendarius, by the way, now walking next to you all as he's sort of ahead, adjacent, as he's leading you towards the central command room. As you guys are walking down these massive hallways again, these huge, I would say the ceilings to this place is probably about 60 to 70 feet up, and it looks like ancient weapon emplacements were probably lining these hallways. Again, nothing. Everything's powered down or grown over. Dalendarius, you hear he's managed to keep up with you pretty well, and now it's making sense why, since he's a projection of some kind.
But we don't know that, right? Just the doctor.
You don't know that because the doctor hasn't announced it, but yeah, it's making sense. He was kind of like tired, but he's caning along just fine now as you guys move forward. He says, yeah, I was able to use some of the power cells that were still active. And of course the sun provides quite a bit of energy. The days here are quite long, as they might not be on your planet, but on Sontar, they stretch on and on and on. And so I was able to use a power reserve to keep this place running as I needed. I'm very fortunate that I came back online today, actually.
Just today?
Came back online?
Just today, yes.
You came back online?
Indeed.
Oh, right, he's a hologram.
Oh!
Are you a program of this place, or are you an intelligence that's been lifted into it?
Oh, no, you... forgive me, Yes, of course, because I vanished in front of you and reappeared. No, I am in fact here in the facility. I just don't get around quite as easily as I used to, so I'm able to use the computers to project myself so I don't have to wander from room to room.
Right, so when you say you came back online...
Woke up, really. Quite interesting.
How long had you been asleep?
Off and on for some time.
How did you know about the paradox?
Well, the system woke me up when there was danger. I've been studying it ever since.
Well, have you learned anything?
A few things, yes. Quite interesting. Are you familiar with temporal paradox or quantum mechanics?
Yeah. A bit.
Yes. Then I could share notes with you, absolutely. And tell you what I've learned. And if all goes well by the end of the day, everything will be made right.
When you say that, what happened here?
We've arrived. And you all find yourselves in this room that is probably a kilometer around. The way I'm picturing it, for this might be a little too archaic for some of our viewers, I don't know. But it looks a lot like Ogra's chamber in the Dark Crystal with the big spinning orbs everywhere and stuff like that. It's this huge chamber, except for instead of the spinning orbs, you see overgrown computer consoles. It's an advanced technological room that used to be a command center probably for the entire Sontaran military effort, coordinating across the galaxy and possibly the universe. It's been claimed by the planet. You see a tear. The tear is the largest you've seen so far. It's probably close to 300 feet high.
Oh dear.
Whoa.
As you all enter the room, you immediately begin to feel that reality, I mean, everyone here, particularly the two of you, reality here is not behaving. Because as you enter, you're seeing things floating through the air, and you're watching grass around the tear die, born, die, born, die, born. Dr. Chronotis, you especially, Dr. and Chronotis, and Jody, because you're a Time Lord as well, but the two of you being specialized in these sort of temporal paradox effects, this room is incredibly dangerous. You're stepping into a place where the bonds of reality have started to completely break down.
Don't disappear.
Miraculously,
Don't disappear.
none of you seem to be affected as you're walking in.
Right, be quite careful in here. That's a bit of a large tear.
Chronotis, you would probably note that.
You've
As
got
you're all
long
entering the room,
statements, Doctor.
as you're entering the room, the proximity to a tear in space-time this large, you should have all probably been turned into jelly beans or glass or whatever, like something completely chaotic and destroyed immediately. But as you're all walking in, the laws of physics seem to be obeying themselves in your general vicinity.
I'm taking some very careful notes, and we'll have some questions about why or whether or not between the Sonic and the watch.
Okay.
Standing extra close to the doctor.
That might not be a bad idea.
Cillian, maybe the fleshy one should just stand a bit closer.
Are you referring to the one on my shoulder? You hear Meatstick say.
Yes, please.
Meatstick shuffles over closer to you. And,
Maybe I feel like maybe I should get down now, Meatstick.
Should I put him down?
Oh, yes, please. Thank
Meatstick.
you. Quite gently.
He's about to throw you off his shoulder, and quite gently, just sets it down. Sets you down.
Oh, thank you.
Well done, thank you.
You see the flickering image. The image begins to flicker a little bit, and Dolandarius says, "Welcome, welcome." And there it is, isn't it incredible? A horrible, horrible wound in space-time with so much potential.
Sorry, potential for what?
Redemption.
Right, I'm just going to close this now.
Close it?
Yes, of course.
Scan it.
Why would you close it? Think of what we could do with it. We could reverse so many horrible mistakes, like you. And he daggered like death eyes at Velig.
Oh. Excuse me. I'm sidling closer as I do that.
Okay.
To the tear.
Velig says, "I am not a mistake. I am perfection."
I start walking towards Velig.
Okay, everyone starts to circle the wagons near Velig.
Well, specifically just keeping an eye on his trigger finger.
Okay.
I actually I want to sort of look around and see if I can see where he's being projected from.
Okay.
It's all environment.
Okay. Make an awareness resolve check. You said you were scanning Tal?
This is all. I want to see how it reacts to
okay.
everything.
Then yeah, I'd say make your ingenuity tech roll. Actually, if you want to, or I'll let you use science too here if you want, whichever you prefer.
Either science
or tech.
The same though.
Okay.
24.
19.
19. Okay. The paradoxical energies are just completely interfering with your scans. You for a minute you get the biological scan, and then it turns into like your Sonic basically starts giving readings that are completely ridiculous.
How about the doctor and the human?
They are 100% stable. In fact, when you scan them, it goes, and you're scanning your facilities on the Sonic immediately begin to regulate, and it feels like when you're scanning Cillian and the doctor, it immediately completely regulates the scan and makes it viable as it normally works. All right. No sign of anywhere that he's been projected, but you see that this room is probably filled with projectors, holographic projectors that are allowing him to move throughout this entire facility.
Too much trouble to take them all out.
I'm just sneaking closer to the tear.
After he says, especially you, and you all circle, he says, "My whole race made one of the gravest mistakes of all. We indulged our penchant for war. We were fools, and we created a race that would fight our war for us, and it led us to our doom. To think there could have been peace. The Sontarans are a false race. You are a mistake. The war with the Rutans would not have lasted if we hadn't made you." And he, again, the venom in his tone as he's looking at Velig, who's staring at him completely dumbfounded. "Yes, Sontaran, I am the last of your progenitor race. And destroying your entire kind was one of the most merciful things I have ever done for this universe. The Centaurans did nothing but visit war, death, and pain upon all that stood before them.
You killed them all.
Yes.
So, you committed an act of genocide.
A mercy upon the universe.
Violence.
Yes, to right a wrong. How long did that war last? Millions of years with the Rutons. Millions.
There are worse wars.
What's that?
There are worse wars.
I shudder to think of it. And the Centaurans would persist, they would not stop. The Rutons, of course, would not stop. Something had to be done, a wrong had to be righted. A horrible decision had to be made. Yeah, Doctor, as he's saying this, you're remembering standing in that old shack. You're remembering standing before the device. You're remembering the red button. You're remembering the pressing. You're remembering Gallifrey burn.
I've forgotten.
It's all just flooding back into you. The complete genocide of the Time Lord race. The destruction was beyond imagining, even for you. And you're sitting here and you're listening to this man speak like you once spoke for the one who didn't carry the name of the Doctor. And almost like an echo of your old voice, you almost hear the War Doctor in your mind saying, I did what must be done for Gallifrey. Everyone else hears him say, I did what must be done for Sontar.
No more. Just closing the tear.
You what?
I'm just closing the tear.
Okay. You begin to activate the tear. You, sure enough, as you begin to scan the tear, 300 feet is going to take a spell, but you actually witness it as it's beginning to slowly close, which defies... That should not be possible. And yet it begins to slowly close. Dolandarius leans forward and says, with the paradox energies, we could stop it from ever happening. We can go back and stop the war from ever taking place. We could never make the Sontarans. Erase you all from existence. There would be no war. The Rutons would never have attacked. All we have to do is right the wrong.
Pretty sure someone's already tried that. There was a war, no one remembers how it ended, and the universe is a disaster now.
That's ridiculous. Look what we could do. The paradoxical energies.
Oh, this is easy. Hold on. Did you really wake up for centuries of quiet for this?
Well, it did. It activated my chamber. I am still resting, but...
You just woke up to declare war on the Sontaran army?
Well, that happened centuries ago.
He just woke up to declare war on the Sontaran army. Are you going to take that?
Stop helping!
Velig is like, I
Maybe
Are
aim
you-
for all those projectors around.
I'm sorry?
There. I said to Velig, maybe aim for all those projectors.
Maybe
around
don't aim for
there.
anything at all.
Yeah, maybe right now isn't the time to be firing with the giant rip in space-time in front of us.
Absolutely was a declaration of war against the Sontaran army.
Well, do
Professor,
not
stop
listen to
helping.
him. Don't listen to him. If you fire off in this room, you might destroy all of us immediately.
Would you like to roll a convince against Velig?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I have more readings to take. What? Okay, I do this with. Okay, I'll use yeah, this will do. What is that? That's a.
That's going to be. It's going to be a presence plus convince.
Okay.
And it's
Plus
going to
bonus.
be against his resolve. Let's see what happens.
22.
Velig, you've seen the look. You see
I'm
the
not
look
yet.
in Velig's eye. He says, You created my race, and then you exterminated us?
What?
Well, that just... that doesn't seem right at all. And he lowers this gun and powers it up.
I dive for it.
He hasn't yet. He's not firing, but you see him cock it back, and the plasma smoke comes out.
Good enough for me.
Dalandaria says,
I don't try to take it. I just try to stand in front of it. Actually.
Okay. Finn immediately positions herself in front of the gun, and you see Velik actually kind of reacts and stops for a second. The old man, Dalandaria, says, "Yes, I am the last Kavich. The Kavich, the original Sontarans who created you. And now, the annihilation of you doesn't ever have to happen. We can use the paradox to make sure that you were never created in the first place. And the war with the Rutons, the billions and billions of lives, they do not have to be snuffed out in senseless violence."
That's not how it works.
Kill him. Just please let him shut it up.
Professor. Don't you understand? You're already wrong. If that was true, if they can't be changed, he would have already shot you. And he didn't. He would have shot right through me at you because you had declared war on him. That is what he believes. And he didn't.
The old man, it seems like that kind of does confuse him a little bit. The rift is about 200 feet now, as it's continuing to close.
Darling, there are other ways. I know it can seem as if terrible things must be done, but some wrongs are too great. You can't go back. I think you can't go back and fix your mistakes. Sometimes we might have done it. We might have saved them.
Doctor, Dalandarius leans forward and says, "If you were me, standing on the graveyard of your kind, and on a race that you created and then exterminated, would you not want to do the same?
To unmake life.
You cannot take what was never been when it has never been. We can rewrite.
That's rubbish. That's
time.
evil rubbish.
Don't you see we can make this right? My race can exist again. The Rutons can exist in peace. Think of all the ones who have died.
You've bathed in too much death. You've forgotten.
It is a weight I'm willing to bear if it means the salvation of my race.
It means the salvation of nothing. Only more destruction.
And you stop one war, there'll just be another. That seems to be the way things are. That seems to be the way all life is.
If you erase the mistake, you forget what to learn from, to be better in the future.
Everything ends.
And you might stop that war. You might stop the Sontarans from being created, but you can't control what happens on the other side of that rift in time. You could destroy everything.
And everything that you need to do, you just damn well have to do yourself. And I grab my umbrella and I tap the gun in the Sontaran's hand, lift it up, and have him shoot into the rift.
Make your roll.
Spending a story point.
How high up? I'm in front of it.
Oh, it's 300 feet.
Oh, I'm tapping it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm doing a thing as well, if I can.
Quick reflexes.
I have quick reflexes too.
What
What do you want?
So
story point is an extra die or
extra 2 dice.
2 dice.
This is going to be. I'm going to say this will be a coordination. Use your coordination, and we're going to use Velig's marksmanship, which is 5.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do I have to tell you what I'm doing now, or?
I'm just getting him to shoot into the rift.
No, I know that, but.
He's going to shoot into the rift. What do you want to do after this happens? Because he's kind of got the initiative here. Do you have quick reflexes?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what do you want to do?
I'm shooting a force field.
I also I have quick reflexes too, though.
Then what's your coordination?
My coordination is 4.
What's your coordination?
5.
Okay, you're gonna get to go first.
Damn it.
Just left it.
1 sec.
Stop the chaos.
Chaos is how we learn.
Not at the expense of my friends' lives. And or the universe.
All right.
Friends first, then universe.
So go ahead and make your roll, Tal, because your force field is not going to. Your force field is Gina. Your force field is not going to require a roll. You're basically going to fire it off.
Oh, okay.
So your arm, you immediately throw up your arm. Go ahead and make your roll.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no.
Yeah, you because it's not a reason. It's
Yeah.
just
So it's 5, 9, 19, 31.
Tell me, like, how quickly I can.
How badly does this go down?
Yeah. As soon as it's possible to do something, like, but I didn't see this coming, so it's not like I've magically.
Yeah, I would want to do something after this, but
if there is an after this.
Yeah. So I'm giving this to Tal because he burned a story point to just take this and kind of ambush it. Gina, I'm letting her have it because she was close enough by and threw up the force field.
I was technically facing Velik and him.
That's the other thing is you were like
and
close
you know
by.
why I'm doing this. Okay, good. That's all I need.
So, okay. So, it all happened so fast. Chronotis unexpectedly pulls up the rifle. The trigger gets fired. Velik looks a little surprised. The shot goes off. At the same moment, you hear Dalandarius go, "No!" And then your force field goes off as you're trying to stop it. The power of this rifle punches through that force field like it wasn't there.
Okay.
Blasts through. You feel there's an impact sensation on your hands because you're kind of projecting it outward, but you feel the power depletion immediately. This was not the Time Lord weapon was an elegant sort of device for like surgical kills. Velig's gun could probably dent one of the tanks out front. This is a massive cannon, so your force field was not able to stop this.
Is my hand broken?
No.
Okay.
But you do feel a numbness immediately rocket up through your arm as the power levels of your cybernetic arm, the neurological things, the wiring that's powering it goes limp for a second. And you don't have the articulation in your fingers suddenly. You're just kind of like trying to gain control of your hand again.
I pull the umbrella to try and cover as many people as possible from whatever impact this may have.
Okay. The bolt goes into the rip. As it's going into the rip, you see the cannon strike. As it enters into the distant reality, you see suddenly a honeycomb effect. All these like windows into the other realities form. And for a split second, each and every one of you sees a mirror version of yourselves infinitely. The way you did when you were scanning with the Sonic. All of them shooting a bolt of energy at the exact same moment as this is happening. And their bolts intersect with the bolt that was fired by Velig and Chronotis. And they impact, sort of come to a focal point in the dead center of the tear and explode, and you see the honeycomb shatter. And the rip immediately goes, and it starts to rip wider and wider and wider.
Yes, close it, Doctor.
Professor, what have you done?
Close the rip, Doctor.
That's what I was doing. What on earth? Meatstick, hold him.
Meatstick, do no such thing.
As you command, Master.
What?
Can I spend a story point to make sure that my arm is healing now?
Yes, I'll let you spend a story point to get your arm.
We don't have time.
I punch him.
The rip,
I go to punch him.
No, he's shielding. He's shielding.
Don't
As you go to punch him,
we kind of need him.
I wanted to do something too.
Okay,
right now.
so here's what happens.
Oh, well, this will be interesting.
Here's what happens before you're gonna hate me. We have to stop.
Oh!
So here's what happens. Meatstick interjects. You raise your fist. Meatstick raises his. You immediately go to do what you're going to do. Duncan, you're screaming. Doctors, it's pure chaos. And as things are about to go, you guys, I'm just going to say this.
Do it.
You notice as the timeline are shattering, you hear familiar voices exploding from the inside of the rift. And for a split second, you hear a very familiar laugh echoing through the rift, Doctor. One you've not heard in a long time, and it's everything you feared it would be. And it coincides with the laugh coming out of Dr. Chronotis, or Professor Chronotis. And we're going to leave it there.
Oh, I'm so mad I'm not here next week.
It's going to be fun.
And we have to stop because we're literally running up against the last few minutes. Wow. Wow, what a cliffhanger. I thought we were going to have a few more minutes, but that last bit of juicy dialogue ate up our time, so. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Next week will be an interesting episode. Because the shit went down. Yes, it will. Yes, as Meatstick turns against you all and takes orders from Taliesin.
Saw that coming.
That's I have so much more.
I don't doubt it, and I'm so happy.
You might even get an opportunity to live and do it.
I'm sure the audience picked up on everything that just happened. Everyone's probably shouting it in chat. So let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Merely a simple Time Lord and
I just had a quick shout-out thing that I wanted to say.
Quick shout-out? Go ahead and give a quick shout-out.
Today's my mom's birthday, and she's watching right now.
Yay!
Happy
birthday! We all love, thank you for helping create Gina. We're very fond of her. So happy birthday, and thank you so much, guys, for coming back and watching us do our crazy Doctor Who game. We will be back next Friday at 12 p.m., same as always. Stay tuned for Brick Battles. That is coming up, and in the meantime, stay whimsical.